Okay, we're live. Hello,
Yay!
everybody. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to our third Booktube Black chat. And I have some lovely guests with me tonight, and they're going to introduce themselves one by one. So why don't we start with Kay?
Oh, sorry, wait a minute. I had to mute my.
That's okay. You got to mute that. Okay. So who are we starting with? Kay? Go ahead. You can tell us about you and your channel.
Okay, so my name is Karen, but my entire family calls me Kay. And so I was going to name my channel Kay the Reader, but when I first joined YouTube, there was someone else with that name. So I thought, man, and I just left it KT because that's, I think, what Google recommended, and that ended up being my channel name. And I started the channel back when I was in grad school in 2013, and I really didn't have a lot of time to devote to the channel. I would upload a video and disappear, and then come back later and upload another one and disappear. That's how I ran the channel for a long time. And then 2016, I think, is when I really started pouring myself into it. And I really do love BookTube. I love the community. I love the support. And I love to see so many other people reading and sharing their love of reading with the masses. You know, I hate when people say Black people don't read, because we do. We read a lot.
I hate that.
And and I just, some things that I really love about it, again, is just the sharing of the books. I love that we all don't like the same books, and that we can have really good discussions about the books, and valid opinions about why you love a genre, why you don't, that kind of thing. And I just found so much support in the community from all types of people from all types of places that I never thought I'd connect with. And basically, I guess that's it.
Okay. All right, who's next? Morgan?
Okay, I'll go next. Hello, everyone. I'm Morgan. My channel name is under Morgan Gale. So I started my channel back in, I think it was 2016. I was working at a bookstore in DC under inside the Busboys and Poets restaurants. And it was just me pretty much there. So what would happen is, like, the bookstore was only run by one person at a time. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to about books. So I was like, okay, well, I'll start like a BookTube channel. And I actually found BookTube, I guess, by accident. So I was actually looking up books about writing. I mean, not books about writing, channels about writing and like writing tips. And then I was like, oh, all these like channel suggestions of people reviewing books came up. And I was like, oh, this is a thing on YouTube. And I got sucked in, and I like quickly made a channel. And I thought I was going to like talk about like beauty and books and all of that, but I really just wanted to stick to talking about books. And yeah, so it's kind of just branched out to me being on Instagram too. And it's just a great community to be a part of. Like that, honestly, being in this community actually like helps me keep up with what's new and like what people are talking about. It's just a lovely group of people, you know. And, you know, everyone has that same common denominator of their love of reading and their love of books.
Great. Okay, who's next? Don't be shy, lady. Whoever wants to go next, and Jerry or...
I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm OhSheReads, and my channel name is OhSheReads. And I originally started BookTube back in 2014. And I started actually doing NaNoWriMo. That was my first year doing NaNoWriMo. And for those that don't know, that's happens every November, and that's the National Novel Writing Month, where you try to write a entire novel in a month. So basically, you try to write 50,000 words of a novel in a month. And I'd never done it before, and it had been a really long time since I had written anything. I wrote a lot in college, but my first novel that I wrote didn't do well in the sense that I sent it out a lot to a lot of agents and things like that, and it was a long process. So I was very demoralized by the whole process. So I took a break from writing. So coming back to writing was a big deal, and it just so happened to be on a platform like YouTube. And in the process of doing NaNoWriMo, I discovered Booktube. And I was so in awe because I never knew that a space like this existed. I knew about the beauty community on YouTube, and that was pretty much all I knew. So seeing this whole amazing book community on here was really inspiring. And I knew that after NaNoWriMo, I wanted to continue to make videos, and I wanted to join the Booktube community. And I just knew that's what I was going to do. So that's how I started on this platform. And then I just kind of naturally flowed over to Booktube. After NaNoWriMo was over, I started making book videos. I wasn't very consistent. I was consistent for a while, and I took long breaks just due to life and you know, other things like that. But I've always loved the community, and for a long time I felt like an island onto myself. I wasn't aware of all the other Black booktubers that were on here. Dee, I knew about your channel. It was like you and 3 other people that I knew about, and I almost felt as if we were just out there alone. And it's been really cool to see how much this community has grown, how much we're starting to support one another, reach out to each other, communicate with one another. And all of us are so different. We all have different tastes in reading. We all have different things to bring to the table. And for the longest time, I did feel very silenced in a way because, you know, Booktube is a very white space, and it almost feels as if you are a Black person that loves to read and loves to read books by Black people about Black people, there is a weird disconnect there where people don't really seem to understand that that's okay to be proud about and to talk about. And it's almost as if you become a novelty channel of just a normal person talking about people that write books and that look like you with characters that look like you. So for a long time, I was very afraid to talk about that on my channel. And I kind of followed the formula of talking about, you know, young adult books, even though I wasn't really that into them and things like that. But as time went on and I found more Black booktubers and found more support, I just became more bold and, you know, seeing other Black booktubers to step out and really just embrace that and be okay with that. And so I'm really excited for this time in Booktube. I think that things are really changing, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I have to agree with some of that. Yeah. But yeah. Okay, and Jerry?
So, hi everyone, my name is Jerry. My channel is called ONYX Pages, and it's dedicated to Afrofuturism, science fiction, magical realism, fantasy horror. So most of what I read, most of what I review and talk about on my channel consists of books that are written by Black folks, and usually Black women, and I try to concentrate on queer folks, but I move around in the Black community. And I started the channel on, I feel like it was August 21 or 22nd, 2017. I was on my honeymoon in Vancouver, and I had found out about Booktube because I was reading a book and I was getting so excited about what I was reading. I felt like I was going to burst inside, and I had no one really to talk to about it because, I mean, my loved ones would say, oh, wow, that's really great. But I feel I needed to connect with somebody about what I was reading in a very deep way. And there was just nobody around. So on a lark, I just went to YouTube and I searched for the title of the book, and I found a video by Perpetual Pages on the same book.
Yeah.
And they did a review of it, and I didn't know that people did that. And their review was so amazing. It was so well thought out. And Perpetual Pages is a non-binary queer person of color. And I was just like, there are people like they're on BookTube like me. So that was little did I know that we actually are a very small part of the community. But at the time, they were my first person, so they were my everything. And so I think within a couple of weeks of watching that video, I decided that I would start a channel myself. So I still consider myself fairly new. I think I'm the newest channel of all of us talking right now, I'm pretty sure. And so I still consider it a young, ONYX Pages to be a young channel. What I like about BookTube is this. I live in Toronto in Ontario, Canada, and I also have a very demanding job, so I don't get out much. So BookTube allows me to meet people and to meet really interesting people who read, but also who do really fantastic things in their lives, right? And I've had the opportunity to meet some of those people at bookish events, and so it's really expanded my community and beyond books. So that's I think one of the more valuable aspects of being a part of the community, and I agree with everybody on what they've said about connecting with other readers and how validating it is to be in a community of people who don't shame each other for spending a weekend on their couch reading, and who just encourage each other to dive into these books. I really love that. And in the past, I guess 6 or 7 months, I've especially loved the upswell of Black booktubers who have started to talk about important issues within our community from different perspectives. I've really enjoyed that. I just saw that Penguin Teens published a list of books to read if you're participating in #Blackathon, and I thought, like there is a lot of impact I think that the BookTube community has brought. Like Read So Lit is a culture now on YouTube, and I think that that's amazing. So I'm really inspired by booktubers. I love meeting people. It's also keeping me accountable in terms of my own reading, because I feel driven by the need to produce content. So I feel a motivation to read, which is really nice, because prior to YouTube, I had a full bookshelf with a lot of books that I hadn't even cracked open. So I'm now getting to those. So that's what I love about it. And I think the thing I don't love about it is, and this might be because of which corner of YouTube I spend time on. I spend less time on how do I say this without being too. There's a lot of possibility. You can get into a lot of BookTube drama if you're not careful. Whether it be on Twitter.
You're on the wrong side of BookTube with all that drama.
Yeah, so there is, and I think I'm not sure how I got to that corner of BookTube, but I even saw some stuff today. It's like you go to a new country and you take a wrong turn and you end up in an alleyway that everybody knows you're not supposed to go. I feel like like this morning I saw the most horrible tweet between these two very young booktubers, like really cruel, and so I've been seeing that side of BookTube just because of how I've connected to people and stuff, and it's really unfortunate. So that's one thing that I don't like about BookTube, but it's not specifically about BookTube. And the other part that I find difficult is that because I'm seeing what people read, I also notice what people don't read. And I know writers who wish that they could just make a living writing. And there's a huge community of people who are not reading their work. And because their books are not selling, they're doing other stuff for money. And we're not getting the benefit of their creative juice and momentum because their time is spent working jobs because they're not making money from their writing. And I think that's something that I feel sad about. But that really is not, that doesn't take me away from the work that we're all doing on BookTube. I absolutely love it. It's an important part of my life.
I think that's the part of BookTube that scares people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I get people that say, "Oh, I'd like to do videos like you, but I'm afraid of what, like if I'm going to offend someone, or if somebody's going to come for me, it's like, I said, I try to reassure them and say, in general, people don't usually come for each other on this side of booktube.
Yeah, they don't.
Right.
We all know how to get along, and this is not high school.
No.
Exactly.
So we all know how to get along. We all know we don't always like the same things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
I love that we don't like the same things. It makes it interesting and fun, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But on the other side of booktube, when you don't like something and everybody else likes, then it make you feel like you're pissing in the soup or something. I don't know. Like you just committed the crime because you don't like the green book,
I definitely feel like the new generation of booktubers, kind of what I like to call them, are very much affected, and they're affected by this culture of like spilling the tea and dragging people, canceling people. This like new Twitter culture that we have going on in social media of constantly being at odds with people, constantly having to have a team. I'm team this, I'm team that. It's a very adversarial type of environment and mindset. So I do feel that bleeds over a little bit into our little corner of YouTube. And I see that a lot with the newer booktubers, and especially the ones who are a little bit younger. So it's definitely interesting to witness. I don't tend to go over to that side. So I don't involve myself. I know a lot of them and I support them and things like that, but I tend to stay out of the fray just because it's so foreign to me. That type of attitude is just strange to me. So,
well, I think it has severely calmed down on our side, because I can remember, what was it, back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, like I was like on Booktube, like I had been on it for 2 years. And the first one was this diversity thing, like, oh, why aren't people reading diversity? Oh,
I remember that.
Yeah. So that, we had one round of that, which, I said, it's true, you guys aren't reading diversity, but, hey, got to live a little bit,
Yeah.
It died down, and then it recircled and came back 8 months later. And I thought, oh, here we go again. No, I'm out. Okay, I don't care anymore, because it started circling back, and it was like more of the same from more of the same people and their friends, or should I say their new friends, And I thought, nah, I'm not, I'm out for this one. And then it recircled back again a third time 8 months later. And I thought, okay, we're going to do this every 8 months. We're going to do this. I mean, all you have to simply put BookTube diversity scandal, and all the videos come up. Okay, they all come up. I thought, like, we have to, like, get to a point where, I mean, like, I've gotten to this point now where, I don't care anymore, because you're not going to make people read what they don't want to read. I don't read stuff, that maybe other people think I should read. Although I try to read diversely. I try. But I think the whole idea of, because I feel like people walk the line on the diversity thing. And when I mean diversity, I mean in the sense of reading books by Black authors. There's a line that people walk and that some people refuse to cross. Mm-hmm. And there are booktubers that are staunchly embedded in the community, whose, their growth is happening, it's expanding enormously, but yet they refuse to read anything by a Black author. That's fine. You do you, boo. I'm not gonna, drag people for it. I'm not gonna, start a scandal about it. But it is what it is, So I just look at it as everybody has to do what they have to do. Mm-hmm. Speak the truth that they want to speak. Be real and true about it. The scandal, just avoid it. Because no need in busting a blood vessel online for crazies, you know, people that are just trying to get, you know, a reaction or whatever out of you because of whatever they feel like, you know, you talk about Black writers too much, or, you know, you're trying to force everyone to, because at one point it was like that. It was like I was made to feel as if I was forcing people to read books by Black authors. And it's like, oh, well, I'm Black and I like reading by my people. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You read what you want to read, you know, and let's just keep it moving. So as friendly as a community is, there are certain divides that continue to divide us in a way. And in the end, I think it's something that we have to sort of, you know, rise above and keep moving and doing what we're doing and progressing the way we progress. If people want to come along, yay, good for them. They want to come along with us. The people who don't want to come along, oh well, they don't want to come along. Because, you know, as far as, you know, collaborating with people, I love collaborating with people. I have no problems with collaborating with anybody who would like to collaborate with me. But there are, you know, there are booktubers out there who have no intentions of collaborating with any of us. And we have to accept that, but not let that discourage us and keep moving and doing what we're doing. That's my opinion on the whole, you know, diversity and, you know, scandals and dragging people online. And, you know, it is, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just old. I don't know, I'm just old. I think Twitter, I'm too old to be dragging people online. I don't know, I can't keep up. I've been clicking the wrong button, and, you know, I wind up sending the wrong person the insult, you know. So, you know, that's just how I feel about it. I just think we have to keep collaborating with anybody who wants to collaborate with us. And who knows, maybe other people will get involved and maybe they will want to read more books by Black authors. Nobody says you have to do it. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. It's just, it's an idea, you know? So, but that's my opinion on it.
I think it depends on what you came on Booktube or any type of like social platform for. Because me personally, like I think it might bother people who maybe want the channel views or want the same exposure as you know, like non-Black channels or mostly like white channels or whatever. Because when I first got on, I felt like nobody was going to watch me anyways. So when people started, you know, commenting, I'm like, oh, people are watching my channel. They are finding me and they want to talk. Like I personally just came here to kind of say my piece and keep going or keep making videos just as like a hobby, as a way to get my feelings out about books rather than make an actual like platform from it, I guess you could say. But people have to remember, like, the internet is like a reflection of real life in a certain sense. Like, you know, I mean, maybe it's because like I went to pretty much predominantly white institutions. Like, you know, there's always somebody saying something about like, well, you know, why, you know, there's always like this absence of Black literature or literature by other people of color, or what I've noticed on YouTube, people are will gravitate towards other cultural backgrounds rather, or they're like afraid to touch books by Black authors or that speak of like Black issues. And that's just what we see like in everyday, at least everyday American culture.
And I have to add, Morgan, to that is specifically Black American literature, because if it's to read Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie,
people will read her in a heartbeat.
If it's to read, I mean, I don't know, anybody else African you can think of Chikozi Obiama or anybody else African, they're here for it. But for some reason, when you start mentioning Bernice L. McFadden or you know, they'll go for Toni Morrison. At least they'll pretend to have read her, even if they hadn't. They'll still say, yeah, we like that. but she about the only one, okay? Because they won't even get down with Alice Walker, okay? There is something about that. I feel like Black American literature in particular is stigmatized. And I can't put my finger on what that is, because if they'll read African literature, which can be just as, you know, volatile and you know, can have angry subjects and sad subjects as well. But for some reason, that is more acceptable than it is to read a Black American writer. So just to add,
I feel like it has a lot to do with, I think it goes hand in hand with the race relations in our country. To take it outside of BookTube, this is just something I've noticed, and it's like something I've just come to accept. I think with Black American authors, there is a fear of facing that pain and facing the history and facing the conflict and facing all of the emotions and the experiences of Black American authors and writers, even if it is fiction and it's not nonfiction. I think there is a deep, deep fear there in people who are not Black, and even some people who are Black. I know some Black people that don't read Black writers at all. So I feel that when something is quote unquote foreign, you know, the continent of Africa, I think is very much, I don't know if glamorize is the right word, but there's a disconnect there, and there's a separation there. It's like, okay, well, that wasn't our history. Like, we didn't have anything to do with that. That was over there. And so people are able to read that without direct confrontation of that fear and all those emotions that are going on that are tied to a lot of the race relations that happen on this soil here in America. So this is just something I've noticed even when I was in school. And I went to a lot of predominantly white institutions as well. And I very quickly got used to being one of the only Black faces in many classrooms. And, you very quickly become used to everyone kind of turning to look at you in the classroom when certain books are being read, To Kill a Mockingbird. And that's not even by a Black author, but just certain books that, encapsulate some small part of the Black American experience. I became very familiar with the looks and kind of like, how do you feel? And like the tiptoeing and then let's not dive too deeply. Okay, that's enough of that, and the very strategic picking of which books to read and which to stay away from. And even I remember going into the library and looking for certain books, the school library, not the public county library, but the libraries in school, and looking for certain books and not finding them, or just the ones they chose to have in there versus the ones they chose to not have in there. I mean, it's a very complex and definitely very interesting discussion, but it's just something I've noticed. And it, of course, naturally flows over to BookTube as well, because when you talk about the big booktubers or even just the regular booktubers, those who are white or not Black, that read predominantly white authors, when they do choose to read Black authors, it's very interesting to see which books they choose. Whether it's a New York Times bestseller like The Hate U Give, which is the one that's been going around, and then you watch all of their best books of 2018 and The Hate U Give is there, and it's very strange, but also very like, okay, well, that's the only one you read that year, and that's the one that was acceptable for this time. Was it because it was a New York Times bestseller? Is it because, there's just a lot to think about. Is it it's the safe one for now. This is the safe option. This is the safe Black author, the safe book about Black Americans to read right now. It's all very interesting.
Yeah,
it is. As a Black Canadian, that there's a lot of African American literature that's available in Canada, and that I similarly find that if I just look on Amazon, which is unfortunately where I buy a lot of my books, it's harder for me to get books that come from places outside of the US and the continent of Africa. Like, I actually have to make a concerted effort to find Black European writers or Black Asian writers or Black Latin American writers or Black Caribbean writers. And somebody said, Young, Gifted, and Black said, same thing in the African community. Actually, we easily read African American literature, but we try our best to avoid our own writers unless they are being internationally praised. And my wife told me, and we talk about this a lot, where sometimes, at least there's a Canadian phenomenon where if you've got an artist who's really popular here, they actually have to go to the US and become popular there and come back home before people will start paying attention to their work. Like they have to be American approved. And then all of a sudden people are reading it. And that's happened with Lawrence Hill, or that's happened with a lot of writers that are like Nella Hopkinson, for example, Zetta Elliott. They were writing great work while living in Canada, but they're both now living in the US. And so I think there's something about not really valuing your own, whatever your own is, and essentializing or exoticizing the other because they're just not you. So I think that's one thing that might be operating. And then I also wonder about, I mean, I just think it's racism sometimes, right? And I think it's pretty like racism and internalized racism as well, that we sometimes don't value our own intelligentsia, we don't value our own histories. I also agree that sometimes it is painful to read. I have mad feelings when I read works that talk about slavery in Trinidad, right? Like it's hard for me to read. So sometimes it's just an emotional break to read from elsewhere as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you read books that make you angry, but that doesn't mean you have to stay in that mindset and only read those books. I mean, you can and then read other things in between, But the idea of just completely avoiding it and just sort of saying, I'm not going to read it at all because there might be something that might be sad for me to read. It's like, what? That's a little bit too cut and dry, for me as, a reason why people aren't reading Black American books. But
I think some of them have the impression that all of our books are about slavery and oppression.
That's it. You're right.
They're not all about.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah, but they won't take the time to read those books to find out what they're really about. I mean, my coworkers know that I always have a book on hand. People are always recommending books to me, and when I come into work, I have a book pretty much every day. And they say, "Oh, well, what are you reading?" And if it's by a Black author, and I tell them what the book is about, I get the deer in the headlights look. But when I walk in with a David Baldacci or Kristen Hanna, they're so excited, and they just want to know all about the book, and they want to go get it too. So, and I think that translates over to BookTube as well. All of the books are not about slavery and oppression, and so just take the time to watch the videos, learn about the book, so you might discover, you love that author.
Yeah, something new.
Black or not,
I agree. I think that's one of the main issues as well, is that there's always this assumption that it's always going to be in the tragedy, in the slavery, in the, the tragedy all the time. Somebody asked, they asked, what books are you saying that people don't read that they should? I'll give an example. I remember everybody was, getting on to the James Baldwin train.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got onto the James Baldwin train, everybody jumped on, read Giovanni's Room, and then jumped off. Yep. Jump off, okay? They had enough. I don't know. They just jumped off and never looked back again. But you can't stop there, because here again, it's a little bit like what Kay said. There's this fear that we're going to run up against some stuff that we're not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, Giovanni's Room is a little bit easy to suck in because all the characters are white. Mm-hmm. All of them are white. There are no Black characters in Giovanni's Room.
Mm.
So it's easy to read that book and, really, really like it. Now, let's talk again about reading something else, like Go on the Mountain or Another Country. And even Another Country has white characters in it, but it also has Black characters in it. Talks about a lot of deep-seated problems in America. But am I going to hear people really, talking about reading more of Jane? Probably not. I can't. I mean, I need a minute to think about other ones, but there are other ones in the same case where people will read that one book, and then afterwards it's like the other one's like, oh, no, I'm not touching that. It's too complicated.
I find that happens a lot with Toni Morrison as well.
Absolutely.
People read one book, usually Song of Solomon, and they're done after that. Or Beloved. Yeah. They're like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've realized
I've checked it off my list. Yeah. Read Toni Morrison, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Exactly.
I feel like people need to read more contemporary Black authors. And Booktube actually helped me with that a lot. And like parts of Instagram have helped me because I was like, oh, like there's a lot of, like, for example, Bernice L. McFadden. I had never heard of her until I got on this platform. And she had so many books out. And I'm like, why have I never heard of her? Like, clearly she's been writing for a bit. She has a decent backlist. Why have I never heard of her? So
14 books, and that's just the contemporary, because she also used to write love stories.
Right, and yeah.
Stories.
Another name. So not just like New York Times bestsellers, but people have to kind of like really like dig. I think this came up with I think it was back in 2016 with like that diversity talk. People are like, well, I don't know how to find these books. And I'm like, well, before I got on here, there are like so many lists that will tell you what to read or what you should look for.
Yeah, but also, I mean, there's Google, damn it. Like, not Google anymore. I mean, when people want to know something, what do?
Google.
They put themselves online and they go on in Google and they put in the thing in the search bar.
Right.
What is the problem?
Yeah.
God, Goodreads. What is the problem?
Exactly.
What else do people need? You got Goodreads, you got Google, you got Bookstagram, you got YouTube
resources.
Like what? I have to take you there, push it in for you, read the stuff for you, tell you what to do. It's like, come on. That's, that for me, that's like the major cop out when people start saying, I don't know what to read. It's like, well, I don't know what to say. If you don't know how to use your, stuff around you, and there is so much more stuff out there now than there was, say, 6 years ago. When I started Booktube 6 years ago, there wasn't that much around, but you still had Google. You can still Google. You can still use Goodreads.
Yeah.
It has Black writers. It has all different kinds of lists concerning, Black writers.
I read a lot of contemporary romance by Black writers, primarily female, and a lot of them are indie authors. They publish independently. I read a lot on my Kindle app, so I discover a lot of them there, or they have independent publishing houses. So I know I talk a lot about that on my channel, and I always get the comments of people being like, I've never heard of this person. I've never heard of these books. Like, thank you so much for shining a light. But that's kind of like what I love to do on my channel, is a lot of the indie writers and indie Black writers writing about Black love between two Black people.
Yeah, I had to, that's the thing too. I had to kind of get out of like a school mindset, because I think I was like a year out of grad school when I started YouTube and stuff. And once you kind of get out of, and that's another thing, people just don't read past high school in general, as we're seeing. But maybe that's not necessarily a problem on this platform. But I had to really break out of like, oh, what is considered like academic is the only thing like considered worth reading. And I think that might be an issue with like Black American, when people pick up Black American books, like, they're going to go for things that are considered classic, or that kind of have like this white canon stamp of approval. And there's just so much more to read out there that's worthwhile.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. There's a lot more out there, and I mean, look at all the books that are popping up. You know, we talked about it before. All these books that are popping up on Bookstagram, my head is spinning.
I know.
Oh, my head is literally spinning. When I get on Bookstagram, I think I'm on there for like 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, I need a breather because there are just be new books popping up.
I'm always screenshotting different things. I probably have like over 50 screenshots of books. I'm like, check that out, check that out, check that out.
And the thing is, you know, the new books are popping up and people are selling it, Lord. They're selling it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like you got your finger on Amazon, like you're getting ready to buy the thing, you know. So there's a lot out there to read, and I think if anything now, maybe the choice there's too much choice, maybe in some cases, and people might be having trouble trying to decide exactly, you know, what they want to read and what kind of book they want to read at what moment. But there is a lot out there. Every day new books are popping up. I mean, this year with the new books that have been on my new book list, it's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. I mean, I'm filling them in every day and I'm thinking, Lord, here's another one. You know, I'm just like filling this in, and I'm like, I'm not gonna buy nothing. You know, I'm trying to be conservative with that because I'm just gonna try to wait to see for some reviews to fall first. You know, so for example, everybody has photographed to death Black Leopard, Red Wolf.
Yeah.
Now I got some other books to read, you know, from his you know, his list of books that I prefer reading first. But I have to have yet seen but one review of this book. No, 1.25 review. One review, you know, Rod Kelly, he, you know, he loves him some Marlon James now.
Yeah.
You know, so he loved it. He just loves it. But then I was watching what was I watching? I was watching what's his name on Conrad on Booktube. And Conrad said he had started reading it. Like I think he said he was 50% in and he was going to finish reading it over the weekend. Now he just sucks up books so fast. I don't know how he reads so fast. And he said it's not one of his best.
Huh.
And then he said, I was like, so I was glued because I said, the first person to say this is not a masterpiece, let's see how many people come for him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No, but he said it's not his best. He said it's confusing, some of the writing sometimes because you don't even know who's speaking sometimes the way it's written.
Mm.
And he said it's not going to be for everybody because he said if you can't get past page 70, give up. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So that's one person's, you know, and that's him not having read the entire book. He's only read like 300 pages. He's got another 300 to go. So I'm going to be glued next week to see if he does a review, to see what he says fully about it. Because for the moment, I have seen no reviews except for Rod Kelly.
I've been really curious about why I haven't been seeing as many reviews as I thought I was going to see for that book. And it's funny on BookTube, right? When you're subscribed to a lot of people and you watch BookTube all the time, like I do, when everybody gets really, really excited and then there's radio silence for 2 weeks, I get suspicious because I'm like, some people don't feel comfortable giving bad reviews.
They
right?
don't.
I'm one of those people.
In cases, people have started reading it and they didn't DNF that bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
They're going, oh damn, I didn't spend $27 on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, for me, I haven't read anything else by this author, and I'm very hesitant. I'm the kind of person that if an author has an overhyped book, but it's not their first book, I'm always very hesitant to start with that overhyped book. I'm like, I don't want to have a negative experience and then be completely turned off the author. I want to read some of their older work first and then approach this book with a broader perspective of what they can do, their writing style, their voice, you know, who they are as a writer, and then approach the hyped book and kind of have a more of a nuanced and balanced perspective going in. And that's why I'm very hesitant about this book, because I haven't read his work before. So I'm just like, I feel like I want to read something else first and then read this one and kind of have a little bit more to say, and not just go in with this one, be completely turned off, or, you know, whatever my experience is, and then just that have that soul experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of talked about his book at work a little bit too. We were saying that he's like a writer's writer, because we were expecting higher like pre-sold books when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's also very violent. Like his work is very like kind of graphic. So I think he's an acquired taste. Also, that book is huge and it's heavy. If you've ever picked it up, it is big.
A Brief History, I read it, and that is an acquired taste. That one is not body, okay?
Yeah.
There's so many things going on in that book that I'm really not sure that it's something that, you know, I would say, yeah, go ahead, girl. You're gonna love it.
And that was kind of the sentiment of my coworkers, a couple of my coworkers who had gotten early copies. They were like, it's good, but it's not for everybody. Some had said it's even like slow up until through the middle, and then it starts getting like.
Which one? A Brief History?
No,
Black Whisper?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know Marlon James will be fine, but.
Oh, well, he'll be fine. There'll be somebody out there who will read him. I mean, he's got other books that, like, the one I want to read is, what's it called, the other one? I can't remember now.
The Book of Night Women is the one that I've heard a lot about.
I've had my eye on that one.
I watched a review by Troi Towel had a really great, and I love Troi Towel, period.
Yeah.
And also his reviews. And his review of the Book of Night Women caused me to buy it because he was a little shook by it. And I couldn't really tell if he liked it. He just said it was really intense. And so I feel like I need to read something that more people have read by Marlon James before I get into this last one, because I feel like this last one is better positioned for people who are more familiar with his work. That's what I've heard.
And I'm not even sure about that. It's fantasy. That latest one is fantasy, but his other ones are very different.
Yeah.
They're very types of books.
I think the Book of Night Women is supposed to have some sort of magical realist element to it, from what I gather, or some kind of witchcraft or some kind of something.
Night Women?
Yeah. I read the Book of Night Women. It definitely has some witchcraft in it. Okay. I didn't connect with the characters. That was my only issue. Like, it was a good book, but I was like, I don't connect. Like, you know, it was a man writing mostly like female characters, which is, I mean, it's fine, but I think it's kind of like you were saying earlier, Dee Dee, before we started, just like there's something that there's
that
like
male voice.
Yeah, there's like this void of kind of emotion, and I don't know if it's because it was like, but no, I can't say that. Like, I don't know if it was because it was like
it just doesn't,
but I mean,
speak.
Yeah, it just didn't. Because I've connected, like there have been, you can see the emotional value, like emotion from like other books that focus on women and slavery. This one with Book of Night Women, I didn't have that connection. I was like, there's a lot going on here. That one was pretty violent as well.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'm just not like into like plot heavy books, I guess you could say. I'm just starting to get into, I'm more like a character driven person. So I don't know.
I just want to ask a question, kind of going to that point about giving bad reviews and our comfort level around giving bad reviews. And I'm wondering, I guess I have two questions. One is, when you really don't like a book, how do you feel a responsibility to let the people know? Especially if it was something that you hyped in your TBR, and how do you deliver that? How do you deliver that message? And I say that because, number one, we all have different tastes. Also, we all read for different purposes. Like, so I have, as I've said, I have feelings about Children of Blood and Bone, right? Like, I have pretty significant feelings, right? And I'm reading through it for a second time. And as I've shared my feelings with people, people have checked me, and they said, first of all, you need to be mindful about if you're not somebody who reads YA predominantly, then when you're reviewing a YA book or when you're about to put out your opinion about it, you have to be careful that you're reading the book for the intent of the actual book. Like you're not imposing
I don't think that's fair.
Your own desires. So that's one thing that somebody said. And the second thing that they said was, be careful if you're not somebody who reads a lot of debut novels. Be careful not to measure a debut novel against like don't compare Adeyemi to Butler, right? Like don't come for Adeyemi and say that she's not N.K. Jemisin. Or if you're gonna do that, then
a lot of books
against the first read.
Why so many qualifiers?
Yeah.
Either a book is good or it's not good. Either you liked it or you didn't like it. I am a huge supporter of YA. I don't read it as much as I used to, but I used to write a lot of YA, and I thought I was going to be eventually a YA author. So I've always been a huge support of the genre. And one of my biggest pet peeves is people who dumb down the genre, because I feel that the target audience is younger, but I mean, teenagers and young adults are very intelligent human beings. And I don't believe that it serves them to be dumbed down in the books that they read, or to be treated as if their books that are meant for them are less than. And I have a huge problem with the authors in that genre perpetuating that and dumbing things down, just because I know when I was growing up, the young adult genre didn't really exist. You just kind of had children's books, and then you kind of had adult books. There wasn't really too much in between. There were a lot of coming of age stories, some adolescent stories, but it wasn't coined young adult. And what I remember, a lot of the books I read dealt with some very heavy topics and serious themes, and nothing was really ever dumbed down from my understanding. The writing was never really dumbed down. Things were handled maturely, but I never felt like my intelligence was being made fun of, or I always felt like I had to kind of reach and stretch my brain a little bit to understand what was being said. And I felt like that actually helped me and grew me as a reader and a person, that I had to stretch a little bit, whether it was my vocabulary or my psychological understanding of the story, whatever it was. I did feel a little bit of a stretch there, and I think that that's healthy. I think the problem we have now is that a lot of literature coined young adult for this specific genre is being dumbed down, and the writing is being dumbed down, and there's a lot of watering down of a lot of things. And it really irks me as a writer myself. It really irks me when people say, oh, you have to think about the target audience, and and I'm just like, that's so unfair to these readers and to young people to dumb them down to this level. It's not okay. And a lot of them recognize it themselves, and they're just like, I feel like this book was talking down to me. I feel like it was watered down. I feel like these topics were not fleshed out. These characters were not fleshed out. And I was just supposed to go along with the story because it's a young adult book, even though it wasn't written well.
Like I read Shadow Shaper by Daniel Jose Older, which is a young adult book that was able to deal with sexual assault, sexual harassment. Are you pulling it? Oh, and like so much racism, gentrification, homophobia, like the death of an elder in the family. And I remember hearing him speak, and he was saying, like, young people deal with some serious shit. Like even Sylvia Moreno Garcia's Signal to Noise, which is it has a cast of a trio of friends in Mexico City, and they're dealing with bullying, they're dealing with homophobia, they're dealing with, I think there's some survivors of violence, and like just a whole bunch of I appreciate what you're saying about that. And I think just because I might have some insecurities because I'm not really a YA reader, and I tend to defer to people who either write it a lot or read it a lot. As I defer to most people because I'm a niche reader, right? And there are pros and cons with that as well. Like, talk to me about Afrofuturism, and I'm happy to lash out at a book. But like in other genres, like I'm not sure that I would necessarily come for a romance novel unless I read more than a few of them. But I also think that sometimes, I also think that our channels and our comments can also be used to encourage writers to improve. And so I know that I learn a lot when I watch a bad review in which a booktuber is really smart about being clear about what they didn't like about the book. And there are a number of booktubers who are really good at bad reviews because they're responsible and they're, you know, and they're accountable, and it makes me trust their reviews a lot more, I think.
Let me speak on that because recently, you know, a few weeks ago, I posted a video on a book that I didn't like, and it was, what was the book? John Woman by Walter Mosley.
Yeah, that review was good, Kate.
And I thought they're going to come for me because I'm saying I don't like a Walter Mosley book, you know. And then I wanted to say what I didn't like about it, but I didn't want to give any spoilers about it either. So I was like, how do I say what I didn't like without giving away the book? And I tried to tread very lightly about that because, you know, I wanted people who love Mosley to read that book and make a decision for themselves. But there were just some things that happened in the beginning of the book that disturbed me, and I didn't like it, and I wanted the repercussions for that to come up at the end. That's the only reason I kept reading the book. And then when it didn't happen, I was like, what? I read this whole book that I didn't, or listened to it, the whole book that I didn't even like, to get to the end, and there are no consequences for what I didn't like to begin with. So it bothered me. And then I said, okay, I have to do this review, but I don't want to spoil it. And that was kind of hard to do. I think, you know, we have to.
You did it well.
Thank you.
You did it well. Because after I saw the video, I went scratch. I scratched it right off the list. I was like, okay.
I love it.
Yeah. But you know what? Like I said, there was just something that I didn't like. But I know that there are other people who read the book and they loved it. And maybe
who was that? Because I haven't seen any.
Is her name Deidre? I'm looking at the chat, like, you know, seeing if she's saying her name. Yes, some to say so. She loved.
Oh, did she do a
liked the book. She liked the book. So you know, we have varying opinions on the book. I would love for her, if you want to, do a video and talk about what you loved about the book, because it just wasn't for me. But I was trying to be so careful, and Jerry, trying to express, you know what, I didn't like it. And thinking, you know, you know, they may come for me. This is Mosley. This is one of our kings, but nobody did. So I was glad about that.
No, I think it's good to do negative reviews.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I know that a lot of people on BookTube won't do them.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear around negative reviews. I actually really enjoy watching them. Even I love watching negative reviews on books that I love or enjoyed, or my favorite books, because I really enjoy. A lot of times for me, I recognize that my reading is emotional. I'm enough of a critical reader to be able to read something and be like, wow, this writing's not the best. You know, there's some plot holes here, but there's something about this story that I just love. I just love this book. It's a 4-star, not because of the writing, not because of, you know, the plot or anything like that, but I connected to this for X reason, and therefore I love it. But I'm also intelligent and you know, critical enough of a reader to understand that, you know, there are serious issues here. And I loved it for this reason doesn't mean that other people will do the same. That doesn't mean they'll connect to it like I did. And so I really love watching negative reviews, or I like to call them critical reviews of books that I love or enjoyed myself, because I really like to see other people's perspectives and their thoughts, and to see if the issues that I found or also issues that they found as well, and to kind of get their viewpoint and perspective behind that. And I don't know, I find them very helpful. And like you said, it can also help you cross a book off your TBR. Like, okay, not for me.
Yeah, but I think the worst negative review I did, I threw the book out the window. I was so freaking pissed off.
What book was that?
I can't even remember the name of the book. It was so awful.
That was
awful. Okay, it was awful.
And I think there are 2 books right now that okay, so on that point, when do you decide to throw it out the window, and when do you leave it on your DNF for a better day? Because there are 2 books right now. So one is The War of the Saints by, I'm looking at it and I can't read, Jorge Amado. And I picked that up for Latinx Heritage Month. And then the other book is 3 Times Dead. Yeah, three Parts Dead by Max Gladstone. Those two books, I don't know if you've ever heard of them or anybody on the chat has ever read them, but for the War of the Saints, it was such an interesting premise. The idea was that there was this saint, this kind of like, you know how the African gods, like the enslaved Africans in Latin America and the Caribbean couldn't worship them, so they would pretend they were Catholic saints and then worship Catholic saints, but they were really worshiping the indigenous gods. So apparently, like, an indigenous god decides to come to life, and she starts like causing a ruckus. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a really great story, and I wanted to read it. And I just couldn't get past the fact that the author was using the N-word with a hard R for no blasted reason. Like, there was literally no reason. It was just it was being used as a noun, right? And it didn't add anything to the plot. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I put it away, but I didn't get rid of it because I thought, you know, maybe someday I'll be able to get past that, and maybe there's like a deeper meaning or whatever. And then with the 3 Parts Dead, Max Gladstone, I think is a white male author, and I feel like his main character is a Black woman just because diversity. Like, there's absolutely nothing about her story, even the way she behaves is completely unrecognizable to me. Like, she might as well just be Becky, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So I was just like, I'm not going to read this. It's not going to be edifying. It's not going to add anything to my life. So I guess my question is, when do you want to pull the plug, and how do you feel about pulling the plug, especially as Morgan, you're talking about books are expensive, right? So you've made this investment, and I kind of feel like sometimes it's a relationship. So when do you let go with the bad books?
Well, usually when something goes on my DNF, I'm not picking it back up.
No, I'm not picking it up again.
I'm just saying, like, once I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I'm the same.
That's it.
They don't call it did not finish for nothing.
Yeah.
Change the media.
Not finished. I'm not finishing it, you know.
I feel as though I do a lot. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was saying sometimes I change the medium. If I'm reading it and I can't get through it, I'll switch to an audiobook and vice versa. Sometimes that will help me get through a book. And, you know, and then if I switch mediums and I still can't get through it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I've really been enjoying audiobooks recently. They've helped me get through quite a lot of books, I think, that I probably would have not necessarily DNF'd, because I like to read a lot of books at the same time, and then I just pick them up as I feel the mood suits me. So I feel as though I put a lot of books down when I get to certain parts in the book where I'm triggered for some reason, or I feel as if I can't continue right now. So I'll set it aside, and it may be even a few months until I pick it back up. But audiobooks have actually helped me get through quite a lot of books that I would have otherwise put aside for quite a long time. When it comes to actually just DNFing books, it actually really pains me to do it. I don't know what it is. I have to really, really, really be enraged to DNF a book, because I usually just try to push through. I just try to get through it. I'm like, you know what? I just need to know what happens. I've come this far. I just need to know what happens at the end. So when I DNF a book, it's like throwing the book against the wall type of rage, like tears type of rage. Like, I cannot believe this. I am so disgusted right now. I'm so angry. Like, I cannot continue. So,
you know, I think now I'm in the mode where, yeah, I'll DNF it in a minute. Like if I'm feeling bored, or, you know, I'm just like not connecting, or there's just stuff that annoys me, I'm out. I'm not. Life is short. I've got other books to read. I've got places, you know, to get through. So I figure why, because for me, what happens is when I'm struggling, I'm going to be dragging that book for a month, you know, just to finish it, because I'm struggling with it in some shape or form. So at this point, I'm like, it's out. I'm DNFing it, and I'm not looking back. Unless for some reason I feel like, let me see, is there anything that I've DNF'd that I would want to pick up? Oh, no. There is your favorite, Morgan, Sing Unburied Sing.
I knew you were going to say that.
Now, I didn't DNF it, I read it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I wasn't feeling it like strong, you know, like everybody else was.
That's fair.
But that one I would definitely reread again, especially since I actually saw her when she came to Paris, and you know, we got a little bit of background on why she went the ghost route.
Yeah.
Instead of going the, you know, the flashback route. That made me want to reread it. But usually when I DNF, I can't. It's over. It's like a breakup. It's like a divorce. You go your way, my way. I can't, you know. So I usually never, and DNF books are usually like in some dusty bag somewhere in a corner. You know, you throw it in there and you just forget about it. It doesn't even live on my shelf.
Yeah.
If I DNF, it's like you have fallen from grace. It's like, it's bad. And I don't DNF a lot of books, but when I DNF, it's because I can't.
Yeah.
You know, so it's over.
I've realized too, I DNF less books now because I take like every review with a grain of salt. Like it depends on who's reviewing it or like where the review is coming from. Yeah. Because when I first started Booktube, like many people, like I was just buying, like trying to get everything, like Pokemon, like gotta catch them all. Oh, they said this was good. They said this was good, so it must be good, or it must be something I had to read.
Like this huge stack like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and I think this is one of the.
And then the worst is like just too much after a while. So much you can read. You have to really be selective these days.
Well, yeah, because everybody has to admit to themselves you cannot read everything. And there's always going to be some new book coming out, so get over it.
Yep.
Get over it. You know, there's a new one coming out every day that people are going to be plugging on Bookstagram or YouTube or Twitter or somewhere.
Right.
So, yeah, we have to be selective and try to pick. I try to pick the books that I know that I'm going to love. So if I, pick some books and I'm like, 1 star, really, girl?
Yeah.
First book of 2019. It was a gift. It was a 1 star. I was like, girl, you just starting well now with this one.
Which one was that?
What freaking star? I won't even talk about it, but it was a book in French that a friend of mine gave me. She works with the author, and the author did a retelling of the life of the first Black heavyweight boxer in the U.S. I can't remember his name is, but the guy was scum. But anyway, whatever. Wow. I didn't like the book at all because he was writing it in a fictionalized manner. So the author was speaking as if he was this boxer. So that kind of troubled me as I was reading, because he's a white man trying to write like a Black man.
Oh.
Why?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
That was not a good idea. Okay,
not somebody who has no friends and no one in their life that loves them. Like that, that kind of setup needs to be invites an intervention, right? Yeah. Like that's even gotten published.
No good reader.
If you actually read this book in English, you would just be like jaw dropping. It's the stuff the guy is writing as being this character, this real life boxer. So that didn't go down so well. The first book of the year was 1 star, and I was like, "Where are you, girl? You can only go up from here." You can only go up. So yeah, I mean that's my goal, is to try to pick books that I know that I'm gonna love. It doesn't have to do with who's showing what at the moment.
Yeah.
It's what I see that I like, or what's already on my shelves that I like. you know, that I think I'm gonna love. And if I don't love it, well, I'll DNF it and keep it moving. There's always another one to replace, you know.
Can I ask another question about something that's been on my mind since we're all here? It's not about reading necessarily, but it's more about Black bookish community. And I'm wondering if anybody is feeling the way that I've been feeling. I love reading. I love watching videos and putting up comments on other people's videos and welcoming new people to the BookTube community. And I love when people comment on my videos and all that kind of stuff. I love that. And I love these kinds of interactions, like communication in real time and then the chat. But I'm also feeling like I want more. I want more to happen amongst our corner of BookTube. And I don't know necessarily what that more is. I know that when I went to BookNet Fest, a bunch of us got together in real life and it felt great to just talk and connect. And whenever I have the opportunity to be in the same geographical location as someone else, I'll reach out and say, hey, do you want to hang out? Like, I'll do that. But I do want more connection somehow. And I'm wondering if other people feel that way and if you are wanting more connection with other Black booktubers, and if so, what might you be envisioning?
Wow.
Or if you're fine not with what you have.
For me, it's both. I have definitely thought about, like, especially as our community has really, yes, it's grown, but I feel like more than that, our community has become we've become conscious of one another.
Yeah.
We become more open to connecting to one another. And it's no longer like, okay, I'm a Black booktuber, I'm just going to be over here. It's like, hey, and you, let's talk, and you, let's talk, and you. It's become more like that. So I've thought a lot about, like, wouldn't it be really cool if we could have some type of, like, convention, or we could really solidify our community under some type of, like, banner, like have some type of event or something like that. I do think about that sometimes. But at the same time, I guess for me, I think about why I make videos and the fact that although I really enjoy this platform and I enjoy this a lot as a hobby, I'm also very painfully introverted in some ways. And social media for me is still a very awkward place. And I fight a lot with that balance and that tension of, like, putting videos on YouTube and being active on Instagram and being an Insta story, but I don't have a Twitter because I just can't. The minute-to-minute thing, I can't do it. And, like, I can only take so much social media. So it's like, if there was a way for us to connect and interact and bring it into the real world, I'm all for it. But to get there, there has to be more social media interaction. And for me, that's very difficult. Like, it's even difficult for me to respond to comments on my videos because sometimes I'm just like, I cannot handle any more social media today. Like, I'm just like, I need to log off the internet. There's too much going on. And my anxiety starts acting up. And I'm like, I'm that person that's always in people's comments, like, thinking literally for 10 minutes what I'm going to type. And I want to make sure that it's, like, helpful and great and encouraging, but also, like, not too crazy, but not too long, but not too short. So it's just like, for me, social media is such, like, a tense place and a very, like, a place where I struggle a lot, I guess I should say. And so even though I really like the idea of connecting and building, I almost feel as if I'm not necessarily present enough to be a part of it in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a bit of both because, you know, the thing about, it's true about being on BookTube, the thing is that the community is growing so rapidly. You cannot watch all these videos. Like, who got the time? You know, like, you got to go to work. You got to, you know, your family, you got to, you know, read your books. You got to make your reviews.
Yes.
You gotta edit and all the rest of that, you know. It's a lot, you know.
Yeah. I found that it's easier for me to communicate on a regular basis through Instagram. I think just the way the platform is set up. honestly, like, I think, and part of the reason why I haven't been making many YouTube videos is because I have been like extremely lazy. I'm like, I don't feel like editing. I don't feel like making sure I'm up in time to like film when the light is out and this, that, and the third, and when my aunt's not home, and making sure I can like create a space. Like Instagram to me is a little bit easier.
Yeah, because it's instant.
Yeah, it might be easier just for everyone to communicate on a different platform than YouTube, maybe. And Twitter's just so messy. I don't really, I like a lot of stuff on Twitter. I don't really do too much communicating over Twitter.
No.
It's easy to get caught up in the perfectionism of YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And to feel like you just got to have the best lights, and you have to have the best angle, and you have to have the
shows.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I get caught up in a little bit of that, and I actually, for me, I like it because it's fun, and I don't want to do it if it's not fun. Like, I get really excited when I know that I have a video idea or I'm meeting people. I get excited. But Morgan, like, I hear you around, you know, it were more accessible or like easy, there might be more potentially, it might just be easier to connect in that way.
Yeah.
You know, and I like Instagram where, you know, this is what I'm reading, and I take a, you know, a backlit half silhouetted picture of a book, and people are like, oh, that's great, I read that too. And it's fun. I don't care about the likes, I don't care about the subs or anything like that. So I hear that.
What about you, Kay? What do you think?
I'm an introvert too. And so this is a great platform for me. But yes, I think that I would love more connection, but like you and Jerry, I don't know what that would be necessarily. But I love the community that we've built here, and I think that we can continue to expand and grow as booktubers and book lovers and a community. But how do we go about that? That's a good question. I just don't know. More things like this, I think, is, you know, a start. And I'm glad, Dee Dee, that you know, had the idea to put this together throughout the entire month. And I think that, you know, and like when Denise used to do BookTube Live on Saturday nights and on Sundays, I really enjoyed that because all of us could get together and talk about books and share, you know, just a lot of different things. So maybe this is something that we need to continue.
Yeah, exactly. It's a way of getting, you know, my vision was to get as many Black booktubers as I could to join in on these chats on Saturday night, every Saturday night in the month of February, because I thought this is the moment where people can realize that, you know, there are a lot of Black booktubers out there. It's not just like 3, you know. There's always somebody coming on there and on my channel and saying, oh, I wish there was more Black booktubers. Like, I only find you and 1 other or 2 other people. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's loads of them out there, you know, and you start, you know, naming all the people and everything. So I thought this would be a way for people to get them, you know, their names out there so that people can see that, you know, we're all different, we're all reading different things, and that we're out there and you know, to help people grow their channels, but also to get to know each other so that we could network more, or, you know, do more collabs or different types of collabs. That was the vision I had in my head. Okay, some people haven't been able to join for various different reasons, but you know, we can always do this again. You know, it's easy to set up. You know, maybe one of you guys could do it, and, you know, invite, you know, people on and, you know, chat or whatever, or even just collab about a book, or collab over an author spotlight or whatever, you know, because it's something that's easy. It's easy to set up, and you know, and it is a way of, you know, us growing the community a bit more, you know, collabing through books, because I think as much as we like this idea of collabing, if you really look at it, I mean, like, who really collabs on BookTube anymore, on our side of BookTube? Like, who really collabs?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of reading. And even
not a lot.
I'm now seeing more buddy reading. Like, I know Rachel Ray's
there's a lot of buddy reading.
I'm seeing that. I'm buddy reading with a few people. Musical and I are going to be buddy reading on some stuff. So, like, I'm seeing that. And that can be one way to just build connection. But I'm just, I guess for me, when I was a teenager, we didn't have technology like this. I'm part of the generation that didn't grow up with email, right? So so now when I look at how much we can do with just our phones, we can do so much more with our phones than we were able to do with actual expensive computers in the 80s and 90s, right? So there are lots of different ways to connect. I hope that more adult booktubers get into the buddy reading and the becoming more comfortable with the different kinds of technology that are available, like real-time streaming and webcasting and holding like web conferences even, and then uploading them, having a book club with people from around the world, you know, like there's so much out there that's possible, that's not expensive and not hard to do. And a lot of it you can do for free, 100% for free.
There was before, a lot of people used to do collab channels.
Yeah.
We would have like four people, and they would do a collab channel, and it would be like a video a week. From, you know, one would do one week, and one do the second week, like that. And it was like a collab channel, like because they were reading similar type books, you know, and it was, but now nobody does that anymore. That's what people did. Was when I joined Booktube 6 years ago, that's what people were doing. I saw there was a lot of people doing collab channels. There was a lot more collaborating going on back then than there is now. Now nobody's collaborating with anybody. You know?
And there used to be a lot of response videos too, I remember.
There was tons of response videos.
We would
tons of
videos.
Tons of you know, but like organized buddy reading, like some serious buddy reading, like, you know, like they would just like open it up and then they would, you know, say, okay, we're going to discuss it, you know, this date, this time, and there would be like 100 people in the freaking chat, you know, discussing the book. This was some throwdown, you know, collaborating going on. There was nothing but collaborating. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to join in the beginning. Is when I saw all this collab, I was like, this is cool, all this collabing. And then when I actually started doing it, people stopped really doing collabing. It just kind of tapered off. So maybe it's something that can be brought back, you know, like if people have ideas.
I like these chats. I think there's something to be said for streaming and live chatting and getting a bunch of people together and just having a discussion, whether it be about a certain book or just even just getting together to talk about, you know, just things going on in the community, or, you know, what are you currently reading, or book recommendations. It doesn't have to be like a formal thing. I've really enjoyed watching these, and I think that a lot of people have enjoyed watching them because there is such like a lack of it in our community of people just coming together and just chatting.
So yeah, that's something I guess we can continue to do, or people can continue to do it. They can, you know, set up a time and, you know, get together and either, you know, collab for a book, or just collab to chat, or collab to chat about a certain subject. You know, whether it's a subject about books or about what's going on in the world today. You know, it's all good. I mean, it's the collaboration that is actually missing at the moment from BookTube, I think. At least on our side of BookTube. I'm not so sure about the other side of BookTube if people are doing more collaborations, but
there are more, way more.
There are more collaborations happening?
Yeah. There are more collaborations on that side of BookTube.
Yeah, so that's like something that I think on this side of BookTube we haven't really explored enough, maybe. And we just have to, like, you know, try to give it a go.
Yeah.
You know, so it can last.
So what are you guys currently reading?
I just finished, I'm looking for it because my laptop is like resting on it, but it's a collection of short stories. Let me see if I can do this without causing damage. You should see this operation I have going on at the table. It is called New Sons. Told me I might need your assistance. New Sons. Okay, I got it. New World's Old Ways. And it is speculative tales from the Caribbean. And it was edited by Karen Lord, who wrote Redemption in Indigo. This is her first book. Okay. And then her second was The Best of All Possible Worlds. She's a queer writer from Barbados. And so the book that I just read has short stories from Trinidad, Bermuda, Barbados, Antigua. And they're all, they've got some science fiction, some magical realism, some spec fiction. There's a romance, there's a ghost story, and it's really good. And I just finished it today, and I really, really loved it. And then I'm gonna, when we're done this chat, I'm gonna start Hurricane Child, which is
it's
have
like
you read that?
No, I've seen it. I've been debating on getting it. It's like a middle grade book, right? Yeah.
By
what's it about?
Great question. Do you know what it's about, Morgan?
No.
That's a beautiful cover, though.
It's a gorgeous cover.
It's a stunning cover. I think this little girl, she was born during a hurricane. She's 12 years old. She's had a lot of bad luck and has been bullied. But then a new student arrives and her luck turns around. And she has a crush on this new student. And then I think she realizes that she has some kind of magical power in all of that. So I feel like it's a couple of hours of reading and really cute. And I don't read a lot of like middle grade stuff, so that's
I love doing that. I love it.
Oh, I feel so like
well.
I read a lot of Sweet Valley High and the Babysitter's Club and stuff when I was growing up, and I feel like I need to really repent and like do penance for that and go back and read.
No, I need to get some Jesus and repent. Okay, all right.
So anyway, that's this is my like healing. So that's what I'm doing.
That's the first time I actually heard somebody say that. I need to repent. I need to repent.
Oh my goodness.
What about you guys?
I'm reading Unforgivable Love.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That book is messy AF.
It's messy?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm reading and I'm like, Lord,
I know. It's like, Lord.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen a Dangerous Liaisons movie. So when I started reading this, I was like, what is going on?
God has got us, like, she got us whipped, Sophronia.
yes.
Oh, I'm going to announce it here.
Okay.
Sophronia Scott will be joining us for the live chat.
Yay!
Yay! Coming. So I think we're gonna have her towards the end, so that way, you know, if they have to come in a bit later, she'll come in towards the end of the discussion. So
nice.
Get your questions ready.
Yes.
So with us. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice that she agreed to do it. She said, "Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to." I was like, "Oh, great. Yes.
That's lovely."
Oh, you've heard it here. Yes, Sophronia Scott will be in the house for the live chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is, I'm enjoying it thoroughly. Kay, are you reading anything else?
I'm one of the hosts for March Mystery Madness, so I started reading what's the book? My Sister the Serial Killer.
Girl.
Yeah, and
I have a lot of thoughts.
that was a trip. I'm loving that book.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about that book. I don't think I've heard one one bad review about that book.
I have conflicted feelings on it. I reckon for me it was a 4-star read. I really enjoyed it, but it was one of those things where I didn't like any of the characters. But I enjoyed not liking the characters. So
Yeah.
You know what? I felt that way about Stay With Me.
You didn't like any of the characters?
I didn't like those people, but I love.
Oh, I love Stay With Me.
I love the story. I didn't like the people.
I think she was robbed. She should have gotten that women's prize.
Yeah. You know, I kind of felt that way about An American Marriage. Loved the book. Didn't really like. I mean, as far as the 3 main characters, I didn't like them.
I didn't like the main characters either, but the book was, you know, I gave it 4 stars.
I love the book.
Yeah, I wasn't keen on I didn't really like the main characters either. I mean, what's her name? What was the girl's name?
Celestial.
Yeah, Celestial. I thought she was so flaky, you know.
Trifling.
Yeah, trifling. Lord, okay, it's going in. Yeah, and then I didn't like those two should never have gotten married. What were they thinking?
Well, yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Don't do it. What you doing? You know, I don't know. That was just kind of weird. And then the friend, her good friend Andre was like, girl, Andre, shady Andre coming in, you know, because he finds out his friend's in jail. Let me just move on in there, you know. Yep. It's just all wrong. All wrong.
There's a freedom though that comes from reading a well-written book with an interesting plot where you don't like any of the characters. You feel free to just enjoy the story, and it's kind of like watching a train wreck that's very well orchestrated.
Yeah.
Now, let me throw this in here. I was watching. I don't know if you guys watch. You watch Julesy?
Yes, I like her. I like her a lot.
When she talked about An American Marriage.
I didn't catch that video. No.
Said something that I hadn't thought about when I was reading it, but she was like, she said, like, come on now, the brother is in jail, is wrongly accused, is in jail, and they didn't call none of the brothers, none of the sisters. I mean, Morehouse and Spellman. Come on, they got each other's back. What's up? You know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shit, I hadn't thought about that. You know.
Exactly.
Because that would have never gone down like that.
No.
She said that didn't fly for her. She said, that part wasn't really well worked out. You know, that they didn't call their brothers and sisters from Spellman and Morehouse to try to figure out how to get this book out of jail. No, but they had Andre slide in there and take the wife. So I don't know.
Messy.
Yeah, that was
I wanted to bring up something that you kind of touched on, Dee Dee. I think it was it last week or the week before, but you were talking about Eric Jerome Dickey. And so it made me think about this, how, you know, he built up his career off of, you know, we old faithful readers of his. And so here's my question. Do you think writers risk losing their loyal fan base when they try to change and evolve for a new generation of readers?
I think they do if they compromise their writing quality and their capacity to tell a good story.
If they're not used to writing for that audience, they might actually not know, like they might not know how to write for that audience yet. So their quality might decline a little bit, wouldn't you think?
Well, his quality has declined, like it's all the way in the gutter. I mean,
oh no, it was so nice.
With him though, I feel like there are certain writers that I feel like should have stopped writing like 15 years ago.
Whoops.
I'm dead serious because they have nothing.
Look, I didn't say it. She did. Okay.
No, like, it's like you ride for them because you've been reading them forever and you have these great memories with some of their books, and then as time goes on, you're like, oh, hun.
Yeah.
Oh no, he still has.
Let me tell you,
he still has a lot of devoted readers. Like when he came to when he came to my job, there were like multiple people who were like, I drove from other states to like see you and hear you talk. And yeah, he has some devoted
That's
fans.
I don't care, but like I'm not like that devoted. Like I read Blackbirds with his trippy scene in there. You know, I said, okay, Eric, I see where you're going with this one. Hard pass. And then
that one.
And then with the other one, bad men and wicked women. Already the title was like whack. Like bad men, wicked women. Like really? You know, the title, the storyline, the scenes, I mean, just rambling scenes just with conversation that you're just sitting there scratching your head going, what is this? You think he's on something. What's he on? Because what he's writing is crazy. Literally, it's like off the chain crazy. And he tries to write it like really cool and slick, like a millennial and everything. Like he just put all these expressions and stuff in there. And it comes off sounding really fake. You know, it comes off sounding, it doesn't come off sounding like a real conversation. And, you know, there's the scene that we talked about last week with the two black guys trying to get the money off the white man and the young chick girlfriend. And the young girlfriend is like flirting with the guy who's got a gun pointed at her husband's head. You're thinking
that would never happen.
It's all about, you know, it's mind-blowing. When you're reading this scene, I think I was like laughing out loud because I thought, is this supposed to be funny or is this real? Like it's supposed to be serious.
Young Gifted and Black was saying, I was laughing and wondering if the book was real.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a lot of scenes that are like that come off with these conversations that are just like, what is he on? He's on something when he's writing this stuff. Because, and then no, my initial reaction was, did somebody edit this book? That was my initial thought.
Nobody loved you to let you like put this out into the world.
Well, I mean, I don't know. When they had thrown the weapons, they had like a bag full of weapons that they threw in the bottom of the pool, and then later on, him and the white chick are like trying to keep their head above water because they keep shooting at them while they're in the pool. So he dives down and gets one of the guns and starts shooting, blasting out of the pool. I was like, what? Did somebody edit this book? Because you know, no, all wrong. But you see a lot of people say the same. Oh, I haven't read an Eric Jerome Dickey in 15 years. So what you said might be true. Like something, stop writing. In 15 years, maybe they should just quit while they're ahead, you know, kind of thing. I don't know, but yeah, he's a mystery to me. I don't know. At the moment, I just feel bad for him because I think his writing was better before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I liked most about him before, his writing of dialogues was spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now it's just like crazy. It's nothing. It's very, very strange what he writes now. But
I wonder if there's like a pressure to keep up with the times and a pressure to keep producing.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that there's something to be said for knowing when to step away, like as an artist in any medium, not just writing. Like even, you know, I've seen this with a lot of film actors that you're just like, okay, I think it's time for you to retire. You know, certain, you know, just in art in general, I think there is like a lot to be said for people who know when it's their time to kind of step down and pass the baton on to the next generation.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a pressure to keep pumping, producing stuff and, you know, to stay relevant, I guess.
Well, you know, Eric Jerome Dickey, I mean, it's like Morgan said. I mean, he can keep pumping till the cows come home because he's always got somebody that's, you know, that's following him. He's got this huge following, and obviously people don't care that his writing has gone down, you know.
Yeah.
there's still, because he adds just enough erotica in there to keep all the Black women reading.
Yeah.
You know, he adds in that you know, that freaky scene or whatever, that he's good at coming up with some freaky scenes.
Yes.
Just enough to keep the Black women reading and keep his fan base happy. So he knows what to do. Dutton Books is probably thrilled with them because he probably makes them some good money. So
my book club read all of the Gideon books.
Oh yeah, the Gideon ones, yeah.
And we don't even read series like that. We had a rule in our book. I think we instituted the rule after we read that whole series to say, okay,
no more series.
We're not going to do this anymore. And because by the time we got to the last one, I didn't even want to read it, to be honest. I was like, but you know, I got to go to this meeting and join in the discussion. I didn't even want to read the book. I was done. But I think that if he would write that one great book that has all of those elements that he used to put into his work, he can pull some of us back who fell out of love with him, you know?
Absolutely. But he has to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Aware of that because he's still doing well with what he's publishing at the moment. But he's not thinking there's anything wrong with that. I mean, he's got all these millennials reading him and some of his older fans who will never leave him because they really like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just miss the older stuff because I just think it's a lot better. It's written better. The dialogues, which dialogues are really hard to write. Those dialogues he wrote before are just, especially when it's between men and women. Those dialogues, like if you read like from Milk in My Coffee or from Cheaters or something like that, the dialogues are really funny, because they feel real.
They were authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. They seem really authentic.
I think the last book I read by him was like, I don't know I can't even remember what it was. I did a review. No, I didn't read that. It was a few years ago, I think, and the book was okay. I kind of enjoyed it, but I just missed the old Cheaters, Liars Game, Milk in My Coffee, Eric Jerome that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you reading, Morgan?
I'm reading Unforgivable Love, of course, but also working on Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole. She's like, I'm pretty much stuck on her right now in her Reluctant Royal series. So once that series probably finish up in April. So I don't know what I'm going to do after that. But it's like a romance novella, female romance. It's like a spin-off of the first book in the series.
I heard that the couple on the cover is a real couple.
They are.
They're real
couple.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, that is a nice touch.
Yeah. She like posted their one. I don't think they have a joint Instagram, but one of their Instagrams, you see them both on there. So yeah, they're a real couple.
That's a pretty cool idea. Okay, well, I'm reading, of course, this one, Unforgivable Love. And I'm reading this one, You Cast a Shadow. Yeah, jury's out on this one. I'll figure it out when I'm finished. At the moment, I'm not really I don't really know. I'm feeling like at the moment like maybe a 3-star for the moment.
Yeah.
I'm probably not. The problem is probably that I'm just not in love with the voice, and that's telling the story. The person that's telling the story. I'm not in love with it. I find him to be, he wants his son to undergo an operation so he can be white. Like, dude, really? Why? And he's living his life, like he's trying to, he's been promoted and he's trying to do all this stuff for the promotion, and it's just like, dude, why? Because he wants the money so his kid can have the operation. And it's just, he's not a likable character. He's just he's feckless and silly at times. Yeah, he's pretty feckless. There's no other word to describe but feckless. But it's about a 3. It's about a 3 for me for the moment, and I don't anticipate it being higher than a 3 for me, which is a shame. But there's a lot of dialogue in this, and the voice of the male voice is a very strong voice, but the fact that he's so damn feckless, he's like, dude, stop. He does make good commentary. He makes a lot of racial commentary, but I don't think that it's enough for the moment. So I don't know. I'll see. If I finish it tomorrow, then I'll try to make my full assessment eventually at the beginning of next week. Because it's a funny book the way it's written. It's satirical, and like I said, it has kind of like a Paul Beatty kind of feel to it, but not totally. Not the wall Paul Beatty, but it's Paul Beatty, the satirical, funny lines here and there that say, 3 things in one line, kind of thing. But I'm not over the moon about it. I'm not sure why it's being plugged so much. So I'm missing something, or maybe I haven't gotten to the part that's like, wow.
Yeah.
So so that's what I'm reading at the moment, and that's keeping me pretty busy.
Yeah. For me, I'm in the middle of a reread of a book that I like to read, if not every year, then every couple years, and it's a nonfiction book. It's Bone Black, Memories from Girlhood by Bell Hooks.
Yes.
Probably one of my favorite books of all time. I just connect to it so deeply, and I like to reread it like I said, if not every year, every couple years, just to reconnect with it. And I'm also in the middle of reading Black Enough by E.B. Zaboy, which is very interesting collection of short stories. I'm slowly making my way through it throughout the month. I don't like to rush through it. I just story here, story there. And of course, Unforgivable Love. And then I just started my book club. I have a book club, a Seat at the Table book club, where we read books by Black authors across the diaspora. And our February book is She Would Be King.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about that one.
I just bought the audiobook, and I'm like so hyped. I just listened to a little bit of it in the car, and I was like, yes.
That book, I've heard great things about that one.
How does your book club work? Because I have that on my TBR. Is
great.
it an online one or?
So we operate on both Goodreads and YouTube. So we have a Goodreads page, and you can join. And there are 3 of us that host the book club. Brittany from Melanin Eclectic, and then Troi Nicole from Nicole's Book Corner. And we each suggest a book once a month, and all of the members vote. And then the winning book is the book of the month. And so She Would Be King won for February's book. And then we'll be reading it until probably the 1st or 2nd week of March. And then we usually have a live show here on YouTube where we discuss it. The 3 of us discuss it on my channel. And then we kind of make sure we have the poll up for the next month's book. So it's been a good experience. It's been a really positive experience so far. We just started in December, and we've already made our way through Becoming by Michelle Obama, which was another really epic and enjoyable read. And then we also read My Sister the Serial Killer for January's book. We just discussed that, I think, last Sunday. So so I'm really excited. It's been a positive experience. Like when we talk about connecting and finding ways to build amongst ourselves and connect amongst ourselves, that was kind of my little way of trying to do that in our community.
I like the name. How did you come up with the name?
Yeah, it was 100% inspired by Solange Knowles. And that's an amazing album. And I like the concept of just, you know, okay, so they're not giving us a seat at the table. We have our own table. And we have our own seats. So, yeah.
I like the name. Great.
You know, it's that's the name of my book group at work.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, it comes from the Shirley Chisholm quote. Or if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair.
I love that. I did not know that. That's amazing. But yeah, so far so good. I'm definitely looking forward to updating everyone on how I feel about She Would Be King. I'm almost nervous to start it, but I've heard nothing but amazing things. So
yeah,
I'm hoping to have a similar experience.
I don't think you all will be disappointed.
Okay. No, that one is supposed to be very, very good. I haven't seen any reviews per se, but I've just seen a lot of people on Bookstagram talk about how good it is, that they really liked it. But I don't think I've seen any reviews on Booktube of that one.
I haven't seen any reviews.
I haven't seen any reviews of that one.
Wait, I have seen one, but I don't watch book reviews until I've read the book. I have it on my watch later, but it's a science fiction and fantasy reviewer.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll find it.
I'm sure I'll find it if I search.
Okay. I don't think. I'm sure I haven't seen any reviews for that one.
I have another question.
Someone said they did one in the chat. Sorry.
Who said that?
Comfy Cozy Up said she did one.
Oh, you did one?
Oh, I have to take a look.
Nice. I have to go check that out after I read it.
All right. And Kay, what were you saying?
I was going to ask, I had written down another question. So have any of you actually met any of your subscribers in real life? And do your family and friends actually support your channels?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. So I've definitely met a lot of people off of Instagram. There's a lot of bookstagrammers like in DC. And I met Bernica. I don't know if she YouTubes anymore, but Bernica came to my book club back in August, which is really nice. She like drove down to Philly and actually came. We met up. And yeah, if I know, my stepdad watches my YouTube channel, and then my mom is definitely like heavy on my Instagram. She'll like send me DMs and stuff. But,
my mom done as well.
That's lovely.
Yeah, some people.
If you've met subscribers in real life.
Yeah. Have you met any of your subscribers, and do your friends and family actually watch your channel and support you?
I don't think I've met any of my subscribers. I don't think I've met any of my subscribers.
I met a subscriber once, and it was a little surreal. I was at the library because there was the Black Speculative Arts Movement conference, and there was just this woman who was smiling at me, and I was like, okay. So I smiled back. And then I saw her a little bit later, and she came up to me afterwards, and she said, yeah, I've watched your channel for 6 months, and I love it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I was shocked because I didn't really think that, you know, people that I would run into on the street would actually watch it. I mean, obviously, I was at an Afrofuturist event in Toronto, and there aren't a lot of them. So, I mean, if I'm going to meet somebody, it's going to be there. But it was really nice. And I encouraged her to start her own channel, which is what I do whenever people talk about how Black women in particular, but whenever anybody talks about how much they read, I just say, like, get a channel. Really great community, and we need all the voices that we can get. And my friends, some of my friends who are bookish will watch the channel. Tommy will watch the channel and put up a comment after each video, which I love. My colleagues are starting to read, but I like to keep a division between my colleagues and my book.
Yeah.
I'm the only Black woman lawyer at where I work, and I'm certainly like the only Black queer female in that environment. And I don't know. I just feel like I want to feel free to say the things I need to say in, you know, in my own company and not have to worry about censoring myself as I do 6 or 7 days out of the week anyway. So I try to keep that separate.
Yeah. I recently met a subscriber in a very interesting way. I actually found out completely by accident that my coworker's daughter watches my channel. Ooh. And I found out because she came with her mom to work and she recognized me and she was like, oh my gosh. So that was interesting. And then I actually got a chance to hang out with her a little bit recently. We went to Barnes and Noble, and she's 16. So it was kind of nice to like chat with her and kind of give her book recommendations and things like that. So that was interesting. It was a positive experience.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've met anybody that, any of my subscribers, but I have found out that some people that I know watch me that I didn't think watched me. Like older colleagues from when I worked, because I'm a teacher. So I had some of my career where I did replacement teaching. So some of the teachers that I used to teach with at the schools, some of them watched me, and that was kind of freaky. I was like, ooh. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, but you know, so I found that some people watch me. My husband watches me. My daughters watch me. My mom watches me. My mom's mostly on my Instagram, though. I'm like, it's like the same, Morgan, you and your mom. My mom's always on my Instagram. But because I don't think she has the patience for videos, period. My mom is like, no, life is short. I'm old and I'm not watching the videos. You know, it's like, she's, you know, I got better stuff to do. I'll be watching TV or something like that. You're not gonna watch, you know, YouTube videos all day. But yeah, but I don't think I've met any of my subscribers. Not that I can remember, but I've met quite a few content creators. Like once I remember I met, I don't know if you guys remember Manika Wangata. She used to do videos. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that she was doing videos, and I was with 2 other content creators in Paris, and we walked past the bookstore that she worked in, and she came out and she said, "Oh my God, you're Dee Dee," and I was like, "Who's this girl?" And then she's like, "Oh my God, I watch you all the time," you know. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool," you know. And then I realized, I said, "Oh shit, she has a channel," you know. and then we became friends. And then I remember there was one content creator. I didn't know she made videos, but she's French. And we were both at, I think it was Zadie Smith was doing a promotion for, I don't remember if it was, I think it might have been for NW. And she walked up to me, she goes, "Oh my God, I watched your videos." I was like, "You did?" I was like, "Okay, thanks," you know. And then we start to chat, and then she said, "Oh yeah, I do videos, but I'm not very consistent." She said, "I'm not very consistent. I just do videos and I disappear for 6 months." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, you should be more consistent, you know." And then when I started watching her videos, and they're really good because she's very funny. She has almost like a British sense of humor, and a French person that's pretty funny to watch. Yeah, but no, I don't think I've met any of my subscribers. That's not happened yet. It hasn't happened yet.
I don't think I have either. I know I have a few people in my book club, I think, that might watch my videos. So because I review a lot of the books that we read as a club, I really try not to give spoilers. And most of the time I try to post those reviews after we've had our book club meeting so that, you know, I don't mess up and spoil anything for book club. I did do a video once called, what was it called? What's the last book you read? And several of my coworkers were in that video.
So, yeah, I remember that video. Yeah.
Yes, through that, a few of them have seen some of my videos, but I don't think that they watch me on a regular basis, though. So, and I know I even, I don't know, I know people have said, "Well, why do you do that? Why do you talk? Why
Oh
do you
yeah,
read those
yeah.
books and talk to them online? Who does that?" And I'm like, "A
A
lot
lot
of
of
people
people.
do that. A lot of people do it, and a lot of people watch." So yeah.
No, I mean, I never got that reaction. Most people were like, "Oh, that's really cool." You know, I didn't know people talk about books online. Oh, that's cool. You know, I never got that. You know, oh, like who does that, or that's really weird, or whatever. Now I might get, yeah, that's kind of weird from a couple of my friends, but they're French, and French people are weird about internet.
I
They're
do
like,
feel that mainstream media is starting to like catch on to BookTube and the fact that we're here. So that's been interesting, just watching different mainstream publications and journalists and different bloggers commenting and writing articles about BookTube and steering people towards different booktubers and things like that. That has been really fascinating to watch.
I live
yeah,
in South Carolina in a very small town, and my library the other day had something posted about the reading blackout, and I almost fainted. And it looked back
wow,
to an article from last year, talking about Denise and how she started, you know, the movement for reading blackout. And I thought, wow, I never thought my little library here would even think about it, but they posted it for Black History Month, and I was like, just really surprised.
That's amazing.
yeah, it is. That is really amazing.
I just want to respond to a question that came up on the chat. Alma was asking about speculative fiction, and what is it? How does it differ from science fiction, fantasy, and all of those other things? I think speculative fiction is a type of fiction that simply sort of asks questions. It's any kind of fiction that asks what if. And while it typically gets associated with science fiction, it doesn't have to be. So you can have speculative romance, you can have speculative historical fiction, you can have speculative nonfiction, speculative theory. So it's pretty broad.
Mm-hmm.
And not all science fiction, it might be speculative as well. So although I don't think I've read, well, yeah, not all of it is.
What title would you give as a speculative fiction title?
Sorry?
What would you give as an example of a speculative fiction title?
I think, let me just plug this in. So An Unkindness of Ghosts is a really good example of a book that has science fiction, but also speculative fiction elements to it. My most recent true spec fic read would be Everfair by Nisi Shawl, because it's historical, retro. She calls it retro Afrofuturism, because she asks what would have happened. So you've got the what if. What if the Belgian Congo had not been colonized, and what if they had steam technology that they could have used that was more advanced than the colonizers' technologies? So what then would have happened in that community? And so you've got a science fiction element, but you've got a very true, pure speculative fiction angle to it. Yeah, but I think a lot of the stuff that we read could also be considered, like most of Octavia Butler's work would be.
I was just about to ask you about Kindred.
Kindred is, yeah, I mean it's certainly known for the science fiction fantasy kind of element of it, like the political fantasy part of it, but it does ask the question, what would happen if we were able to go back in time? What would we do if we could influence the decisions of our ancestors, as Black folks whose ancestors may have been plantation owners? She doesn't necessarily, I don't know that she's called a lot of, well, actually, no, I've seen Butler call her work speculative fiction. So, and she in fact says that most of her stuff is not actually science fiction. And
yeah, but that's what Ms. Potati just wrote. She said Octavia is all speculative fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. If you've read her Blood, is it Bloodchild and Other Stories, her short stories collection? There's so much really good short fic works in there.
Okay, that's good to know.
What are some authors that you all love that you wish more people would read?
That's a good question.
Like who we think is currently slept on?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, who's currently slept on. Well, that list could be long.
I feel like not. I because I read mostly what I read. I feel like I want more Black booktubers to be reading science fiction, fantasy, and magical realism. So most of the authors that I read, with the exception of N.K. Jemisin, Nnedi Okorafor, Octavia Butler, and Tananarive Due, like that, we don't read a lot outside of within those genres, but outside of those really big names.
Yeah.
So
magical realism.
I know
I'm not a fan of it either.
Yes, Lord, I can't.
I think you've read. I don't think you've read some of the good stuff though. I wonder.
Oh, yeah. I haven't got the right sauce, so okay.
So give us some ideas, because I'm really intrigued.
I think you might like Signal to Noise. It's not Afrofuturist, although there is a Black character. Signal to Noise by Sylvia Moreno Garcia is a really nice magical realist tale that I really enjoyed. Also, The Summer We Got Free.
Oh, I've been meaning to read that one.
Sorry?
The Summer We Got Free by Black Girl Dangerous.
Yeah. Did you read it?
No, I've been meaning to read it for like.
Yeah.
Wait,
I think Mia Mackenzie. I think that the magical realism, which I just found out is the first magical realist were Latin American, which I actually didn't know. Like it really comes from that community, which was new to me to hear. But I think when there's like a very subtle touch of magic and not a bunch, that you might like that. Like Toni Morrison has elements of magical realism in a lot of her works.
Yeah.
Tar Baby did.
Yeah, I did.
And so you have read magical realism and you have liked it.
Not like it's not that it's like touches of it. So it's not intensely magical realism. The thing is, it depends on how it's done. If it's done in a way that I can process it and accept it within the realms of the story, I don't have a problem with it. But if it comes at me sideways, and there I am having to, suck up and accept that there's a ghost in the room and everybody's talking, and I'm like, nah, brah, sorry, I'm out. I can't.
You need a light touch, a very light touch.
I need it to be believable to a certain extent, like acceptable, believable. Because sometimes magical realism, and a lot of times when authors use it, it's almost like they throw it in just so that they can make that main character or that antagonist do something that he wouldn't normally be able to do.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like it's there.
To use like a plot device.
You know what you might like? I don't know if you've read Andrea Hairston, but her book Redwood and Wildfire has elements of magic that I think are really nicely woven into what is effectively like a historical romance. I think I don't read a lot of historical romance, so I'm not sure that it's pure that, but you might like Redwood and Wildfire.
I've written it down
because it was so the magic part was, and I like the big like bamboo magic, but like I almost missed a few things. Like I had to read it again and say, oh my gosh, that's a supernatural thing that just happened there. Like it was so well done. Mm-hmm. So you might like that too.
Okay, I'm gonna check these out. I mean, like first I'm gonna read Sister Mine.
You might hate it. That's okay.
Since I won it, I'm gonna read that one first, okay? I think it was, who was it? I think it was Alan said, "Oh no, it's good. You'll like it. You'll like it." I was like, "Okay, okay. If you say so,
Okay.
Alan." She said I would like it.
I have another question.
What?
If you mind. Okay, so this question is, do you think it helps or hurt your channel to be a niche channel?
Is that for me or for everybody?
Anybody, yeah.
Okay.
I think it hurts my channel that I do reviews, that I focus mostly on reviews. That's what hurts my channel.
Really?
But as opposed to like hauls?
Reviews, Dee.
As refuse to hauls and tags and, you know, all that other crap that people do that I don't do. Because I do mostly reviews, there's a lot of people who don't like to watch reviews. And so, yeah, that probably hurts my growth, is because people don't like watching reviews, and that's all I do with reviews, pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't care. Keep doing reviews because that's what I like.
Your reviews. Keep doing reviews, please.
I mean, I feel like if you're gonna do a YouTube channel, then by God, do what you want to do on it. You know, like. If you do tags, so that's what you like, well then tag yourself to death. Keep doing tags. If you like, you know, doing book hauls, keep doing the book hauls if that's working for you. I personally can't do that anymore. It just, you know, I don't feel anything out of doing a book haul. But I think that's the main thing, is to do the thing that you like, and the rest you just, you know, whatever. It'll come if it's supposed to come, and you know that's all you can do. But I mean, being a niche channel, I mean, I still don't think that that is like a bad thing, because you are the expert, and Jerry,
yeah,
you know that you know Afrofuturism, and people are coming to you because you do know it and you know it well. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's a good thing.
I think the challenge, like, I like being a niche channel. Sorry, kill me 3 filling my beer. So I like being a niche channel, but I also feel like I miss out. The minute that science fiction is not as sexy as it is right now, then I wonder if I'll miss out on things, because a lot of the new releases that are coming out, like there's a lot of science fiction coming out by Black authors, right? But if that wave recedes, then I wonder if people will be as interested in the stuff that I'll be talking about. So I have been thinking about that from a longevity perspective, and I've also wondered whether I might want to start looking at rare reads and getting old, like a lot of older books that might be out of print or hard to reach as well. But sometimes I do feel the pressure around, you know, should I be reading things that are coming out this year or that are coming out this month because everybody else is reading? Like the Marlon James, I would not have picked that up. It doesn't fall squarely into my interest, but I do feel a pressure to sometimes reach out just because everybody else is reading at the same time. So I think that's the limitation, is do you stay niche or are you moved by the greater tide?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a bad thing to be in this channel.
I don't either. I think one great thing about being a niche channel is that when people come to you in Jerry, they know exactly what they're going to get. And people who want to read the types of books that you do, they'll know where to find. They'll know where to find those reviews and find out, you know, what books are coming out. And like with Tati reads a lot of fantasy books, and so, you know, it makes me so intrigued about reading fantasy. I'm like, okay, I know Tati's gonna, you know, talk about these fantasy books. That might be something I look into, but she's also going to talk about a lot of books by African Americans as well. And, you know, I kind of read all over the place. I mean, I might review Kristen Hanna and Donald Goins, which are on completely different spectrums. And, you know, but that's just what I like to read. I read across a lot of different types of books and authors and whatnot. But I like it. I like both. I like finding niche channels and seeing what they're reading because it might make me interested in reading some of those books. And then I also enjoy people who read, like Dee Dee said, whatever they want to read. I like it both ways.
Yeah, I do too. I'm quite happy with it being both. It's wait, what did you ask before? There was a question you asked before. What was the question you asked about? What author or books?
Oh yeah, just authors that are slept on. Like, what authors do you feel more people should be reading, or at least be aware of who they are in their books?
There's, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Like, I would say, don't sleep on Attica Locke.
She's good.
Especially if you like, mysteries and stuff. Because she has this way of recounting a mystery story that's not like typical mystery. It's almost got like a literary fiction feel to it.
Okay.
Like, and so it makes the story really interesting. It's different. It just feels different than a typical, mystery that you would pick up. So I would say Attica Locke.
Okay.
Yeah, don't say Attica Locke. I don't know. For somebody old, there's loads of older writers that we should, get back into reading if we can. But I mean, the list is long, long of older people that we should be reading. I don't know, we should, be reading all of Richard Wright. We should be reading Zora Neale Hurston. We should be reading Toni Morrison if we haven't read any. Toni Morrison, all that old stuff. Because let's face it, her old stuff is better than her new stuff. That's my opinion.
It really is.
She's got a new book out. It's critical essays, so I'm sure that's going to be very good. Maybe even picking up on Maya Angelou. I know Why the Caged Bird Sings series.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it all, I mean, I've read it all. Go back and read it. It's been a long time since I've read that. Or even Alice Walker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are not familiar with her work past The Color Purple. And other stuff too that's really good. Who else?
Pearl Cleage is one that I really used to enjoy reading. And of course, J. California Cooper, who's
California Cooper as well. Yeah, there's a lot. There are a lot of little short story collections. So, that's another writer that you don't hear a lot of people mention her.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll hear other Black booktubers mention her, but nobody else mentions her.
Sorry.
Yes, it could be somebody in here put Kizzy Layman.
Heavy was great.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Heavy was so good.
Read Long Division by him, and I just conked out on that.
Yeah, I haven't read any of his other work, but if you want a good audiobook, Heavy is definitely the way to go.
That'll be what I'll try to read next. Is Heavy, because I tried Long Division and I just had to check out because
I
didn't understand what was going on in the book. I just didn't understand what was going on. I'm so sorry. Sorry. But no, I didn't understand. So, yeah, somebody mentioned Diane McKinney Whetstone.
Yeah.
I have a few science fiction writers that I think people might want to look into if they're interested in reading in that genre. One is Nisi Shawl, Nisi and then Shawl. Nisi Shaw's been writing for decades, and also Tananarive Due is very popular, but I don't know that a lot of people read her work, like especially her horror.
No, but you told me to read The Good House.
Yeah, The Good House is good.
Yeah.
My Soul Boutique.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's got a great African vampire series, which is good.
Ooh.
I haven't yet read their work, but I'm excited to do so. I'm just looking at Jennifer Marie Brissett. She's written a book. I think it might be her debut novel. It's just on my shelf and I just lost it. Elysium. Elysium. Jennifer Marie Brissett. And then also, okay, I might have to go up and actually get them. But if you also, I'm going to be putting out a video soon about books written by Caribbean science fiction, fantasy, and spec fic writers. Because
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I'm Trini, and I realize I don't read enough Trinidadian writers. So there's a lot of really good work coming out of the Caribbean. So I might have a specific haul video around Caribbean writers, and they're all going to be new to me. So yeah, that's who I would. And then Andrea Hairston, I mentioned earlier, who I think gets slept on, and she's just incredible and has written a lot of really great stuff.
Okay.
Adding.
Bell Hooks. You mentioned Bell Hooks earlier. You're reading Bone Black.
Mm-hmm.
I used to read Bell Hooks all the time. I've read everything she's written, but I don't hear people talking about her as much as they
don't
10 years ago. So for nonfiction, like Black feminist writing, Bell Hooks is incredible. Similarly, Audre Lorde, if you're interested in reading theory, she also has some a really nice fiction book, but her essays are really short and really accessible and so moving. Sister Outsider, I would say, is a nice place to start if you haven't read any Audre Lorde, but you're interested in that, in doing so. And then Samuel Delany, it has been writing since science fiction since the 60s. And he's got a lot of really great classic works. It's high science fiction, so it can sometimes be hard to get into it. I struggle reading his stuff, but his work he can do more. You know how we were talking about lazy young adult fiction? Samuel does more in one sentence than some writers do in a novel. Like his skill as a writer is unparalleled.
Wow.
It's unparalleled. It's so beautifully done and very technical and very rich. Some people like it, some people don't. But I would encourage people to check out his work.
And Jerry, I'm sorry, what was his last name again?
Delany. Samuel R. Delany. He's most famous for a book called Dahlgren, Dhalgren, and this is a Black gay man writing science fiction in the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
And he's still writing, and so he's got a lot of very short novels. Dahlgren is not one of those. I think it's about 800 pages, so it's a commitment. But there's a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of his novels have been published in bindings of 3, so you can get one book that has 3 of his novels in it.
Morgan, do you have any recommendations? Any authors?
I feel like I've always talked about the same people. Yeah. So not really. I'm just gonna tell everyone to read more Jasmine Ward.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I get the love. I get why you have the love for her.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, definitely Bernice L. McFadden. Like I've read Nowhere is a Place.
Ooh,
Songs for the Butterflies, and I have Loving Donovan. I just haven't read it yet. I just feel like her novels are so short. Like I want more. Honestly, she's probably like the only author I can genuinely say, like, when I finish her book, I'm like, I want more. Like, why isn't this longer?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I want to read this
Harlan
year.
is the longest one she's written.
That one's not even that big either.
You know, Harlan was over 200 pages.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a lot longer than her other ones.
Yeah.
I think one of the shortest ones is Glorious, and that is the one that I like the least.
Yeah, I don't know how she does it. Like a lot of authors, I'm like, okay, this could have been shortened a little bit, or this part didn't need.
They're long-winded.
Yeah, but especially with Nowhere is a Place, I was like, I need more of this story. You know.
But you know what?
To that one,
it was like that.
Hmm?
What did you say, Kay? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said I listened to. I have the book, but I listened to Nowhere Is a Place, and it was just so beautifully read.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't feel as frustrated as, I mean, I was a little frustrated with Trey's Song for the Butterfly for the fact that she doesn't, you know, meet up with the father after. Because he deserved a real kicking.
Yeah.
That dad kicking the balls. He was awful.
And I've been trying to find another writer like her. Not you know, not you know what I mean. Another writer in that vein that writes such good and rich stories like she does. And I don't know, like the other day we were saying who would you say is the queen, you know, that we talked about in the Read So Lit tag. Like she's up here to me. And everybody else is like right here.
Yeah, but I just thought about somebody else who could be up there as well, and that's Edwin Dontica.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what? I looked up and I have her new collection of short stories.
All her stuff is amazing.
It comes out. Yeah, her new collection comes out in August. So
yeah, she could easily be the next queen, I think too.
I've only read Breath, Ice, Memory by her, I think. So I'm going to write that down just so I remember.
That was
I've read Crick Crack.
Me too.
Crick Crack is really good.
I have Brother, I'm Dying, and everyone says that one's great.
Yeah, everybody does say that one is great.
But honestly, in the in what was it called? The Fire This Time, that collection that was edited by Jesmyn Ward. To be completely honest, Edwidge Danticat had the best essay in that book. I read that a couple years ago. That essay still sticks with me, where she talks about you can, as a Black person.
Which one did she write in there?
The very last one. She's like, as a Black person, you could be a refugee anywhere. Like you can be a refugee in your own country. It was real. That was a really good.
Yeah, but the one that kind of impressed me was the one about the. I think it was I don't know if it was. I don't know who wrote it. It's the one where the person was talking about going for walks, walking in the neighborhood, walking places, and was talking about the fact that Black people are not really allowed to walk, run, anything because if you run, they think you committed a crime. If you're walking, you can't do it because of this. I thought that one was really good because of the way they did it. They did the walking, and then it turned into them talking about, I think it was, I don't know if it's in Washington, D.C. or somewhere else in the North, where they had slaves were buried in this one area, and they just paved the road over it. Like that. And I think it's in the one with the walking one. I'll have to go back and look at it again. I like that entire collection.
Yeah.
I just thought that was phenomenal. And now, if there's a book not to sleep on, it's that one.
Yeah. Okay.
The Fire This Time. Because a lot of people didn't really read it when it came out.
Yeah.
I don't think it got the accolades that it should have gotten. But it's phenomenal. The writing is just phenomenal. The way, you know, the short stories that she tells, which is phenomenal. Really, really good book.
I just want people to read more plays.
You want people to read more what?
Plays.
Well, Nitschonge, what is her name?
Oh, Intisoki Shonge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her work is beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful, her work.
Yeah.
There are so many amazing Black playwrights that have current and just older playwrights that I've was more into probably more 5 to 6 years ago, but I went through a period of time of reading a lot of playwrights. And I've kind of been dabbling with the idea of bringing that more into Booktube and more to my channel. A little weary just because I don't know how people will take it, because a lot of people don't really read plays on here, or at least they don't speak about plays, but it's definitely something that I've thought a lot about.
I haven't read a play in a
love more videos about plays.
Yeah.
And even learning how to read them, right? I think that would be my hesitation. I'm not sure if I would need to approach a play the same way I would some other writing. And the same about poetry. I sometimes feel uncomfortable reviewing poetry because I don't read a lot of it, and I don't want to do it, an injustice by not really knowing how to respond to it. And I think I feel similarly about plays. So I would love to learn how to read it better. And I think watching more videos of people reviewing poetry and plays would be very helpful.
I don't read a lot of poetry, but in the past couple of years, I've started to read more of it. I like it when it's really good, and I can relate to it. I'm just like that because there's a lot of poetry out there, and you can pick one up, and you're just like, okay, I'm not sure what this person is talking about. I'm lost, kind of thing. But the last one that I read, which I highly recommend, is this one.
Dear Patrick.
Oh, my heart. It's so well done. And the poems are really short, but they're very, this is not, obscure poetry or anything. You understand exactly what she's talking about. She's talking about the African diaspora. She starts in Africa and she moves along like that. And it's just beautifully written, the poem. And some of them, I think a few of them are taken from her book, The Truth About Awiti, which has a fantasy element. And I read that one 2 years ago.
Yeah, I have that on my bookshelf. I still need to read it.
So there are a few that are extracts a little bit from that she's put into this collection.
Nice. Okay.
It's a really short collection. It's not long. 1 poem per page. And easy to understand, 58 pages, and well worth a second, third, fourth, fifth read. Really, really good.
A really good poetry collection is called Spill by Alexis Pauline Gumbs.
Okay.
That book got me crying on public transit. I was bawling donkey tears on the bus. And it was beautiful. And again, like you're saying, Judy, like 1 poem to a page.
Yeah.
Accessible, well done. When you're reading it, you can actually hear the rhythm. You can hear the cadence. Like you can understand what she's trying to accomplish. And I have a video where I read one of her poems just because it was just so beautiful. And Alexis Pauline Gumbs is, I think, somebody else that we speak on. She's a bit of an emerging writer, but yeah, her book. Has anybody read Electric Arches?
I have. I liked it.
You liked it? Okay, I haven't gotten into it yet.
Is it poetry?
It's classified as poetry. It's a lot going on in there. It's a bit speculative. I can't put my finger on it, but
Morgan, did you like it?
No, I liked it, but I can't say what the medium is. I mean, most of it, I guess you would say is poetry.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm glad
marketed as Afrofuturist poetry. I that's how I first found out about it.
Yeah, no, there are definitely some some of those elements. But I'm gonna have to chill out, guys.
Okay.
You have to get going.
Yeah, I have my friend's birthday dinner. I have to get ready.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So
fun.
good talking to you all.
It's
Nice.
nice.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for putting this together, Dee Dee.
No problem. It was
All
my
right.
pleasure.
All right, talk to you all later.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good time.
Bye.
Okay, was there some other question? I think it was you asked another question, Kay, but I didn't hear it.
No, I don't.
Or is that just my memory?
I think I asked all the questions I had down.
You get some good questions.
Mhm.
Making me work. I was like, oh Lord. I got to come up with some answers here real quick. Let's see.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
What's the best book you've read this month so far for everyone,
This month.
and why?
Ooh, double barrel question.
Or let me adjust it. This year so far, since we're only a few months in.
Oh.
This year so far?
I read Ghost Summer by Tananarive Due, and I've been trying to read more of her work. And I loved it. I loved it. And I loved it because she did a couple of things. In the first part, it's a collection of short stories, but the first part consists of short stories that are interconnected in some way. And so in one story, you might find a character that's sort of just a secondary character, but then in another story, you'll realize that that character is now the main character, and you can flip back from story to story and see hints and connections between them. And I thought it was really well done. But she, as I read more horror, I really respect the genre more because it just picks up on the anxieties that Black people feel. And speculative horror, like, I literally, as a Black woman, as a Black queer woman, I would wonder about like, if the world was about to end or some big environmental crisis happened, I would wonder about how homophobia would affect my ability to survive, right? Like, and her stories, they don't really talk about too much about LGBT stuff, but she gets in on some of the fears that we have as Black people in a way that is so accessible and interesting. And Ghost Stories really did that for me. Like, I really got a Black perspective around fear and racism and liberation and all of that. And I thought it was really excellent. It was such a good book to start off the year with.
That sounds good.
What's the name of it?
It's called Ghost Summer. Sorry, not Ghost Stories. Ghost Summer by Tananarive Due. There's one story where there's a mom and she has a baby and something happens to her baby that is like, it gave me chills. It gave me chills. And not because it was a bad thing. So I'll just leave that. I don't want to spoil it, but the twist was so interesting, and she got into the fears of first-time mothers in it through a horror story. Yeah. And it was just so deftly done. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Got to put that on my list.
Yeah, go Summer. I'm sure Tati has read it. Oh no, dang it. She hasn't read it. Finally, a Tananarive story that I've read that Tati hasn't. I feel like she's read through the whole, through her whole bibliography. She probably has. Except for that one.
Well, my book club, we discussed in January, Island Beneath the Sea by Isabel Allende. Have any of you read that?
Yeah.
I haven't.
No, but I've heard people say
Author who slept on.
Yes, 100%.
I enjoyed the book because I really, a lot of books that I've read about slavery were not about the islands and the effect of slavery on the islands. So it takes place in the island we've come to know as Haiti, and it goes from Haiti to Louisiana. And I just thought it was very interesting, and it does bring up Toussaint's revolt, and it's a twisted tale about the the relationships that we know these slave masters had with these slaves. And but what I really liked, there was a character in the book who is a free Black woman who is a very, I guess, I don't know what you call a courtesan. Is that what you would call her? Yes. And so she was just so intelligent and about her business. And I just love that character in the book. Because if you think about it, back in those days, if you weren't a slave, but you were a Black woman, how else were you going to survive? What were you going to do really to survive? And you had to figure out something. And so she used her wiles and her intelligence to really help not only herself, but other Blacks who even were slaves to try to have it's strange to say, but the best life they could have in that circumstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the story was it was just very interesting, and it like I said, it talked about Haiti, it talked about Cuba and French in this book. So I thought that was a very good book, very interesting.
Okay, can you repeat the title?
Yeah.
It was, Island, but wait a minute. Island Beneath the Sea. Look, I'm trying to strain and look at my bookshelf.
I know mine.
Do I see it?
I'm sure somebody's researching it and putting it on the chat now, but it's
Yes.
Yes, Island Beneath the Sea, Isabella Linde.
Okay.
And it's a translated work as well.
Okay.
Wow. Definitely going on the list.
Some people talking about hoes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hoes need love.
Hoes need love.
Polish hoe again. Tatiana will not let that book down, okay? She will not let me down.
Oh my goodness.
That hoe though, huh?
Yes. Oh gosh.
All right, I think my 5-star of the year so far that's really, really, that was like, blew my mind was Infidèle by Ayaan Hirsi Ali.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Fantastic.
That's all I got to say.
Yes,
Amazing.
Yes.
wow.
Really,
What's it about?
Yeah.
It's an autobiography. So this is a woman who's from Somalia.
Oh, okay, I know that. I saw the cover.
We follow her from Somalia and then to Kenya, and then eventually she goes some other places. I don't want to get into the details, but you get to the deep depths of Islam in Somalia. And her relationships with her different family members, and the difficulty, of having to, go through some of the deep-seated religious and cultural customs, which are not great ones, and how it affects her and her siblings and her relationship with her parents. And how she eventually comes to this conclusion that the Islam that she had lived under did not allow her to be a free woman. And it's because of that is why she started to try to advocate the idea of Islam being reformed, and that women should be allowed to have more freedom, to, i.e., take care of themselves, i.e., refuse, these practices. Excision is not a good practice, and, to be able to work, earn their own money, and do lots of normal things that she thought that women should be allowed to do that they were not allowed to do.
Mm.
And when you're reading the book, it's just, I mean, you're literally gripping for your life when you're reading it, because you just, oh man,
Wow.
She just goes through so many things, and she's a woman who has no fear. You can tell she has no fear. She's just, I'm going to do this. Mm. And it's remarkable to read her story. Mm-hmm. Remarkable.
Mm.
The misogyny in that book was so
off the chain.
Real. Okay. Oh my goodness.
But somebody wanted to come for me in my review and tell me that I was Islamophobic. Of course, I'm Islamophobic because I live in France, and French people don't like Islam and Muslims and X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not watching your videos anymore because you think that book is great, and it's not. Like,
wow.
What you gotta do? Ciao. That book was good, okay? Oh, she's a lie. She's lying. She's not telling the truth about Islam. And okay, girl, whatever. And then she came back again, and I said, I thought you said you were unsubscribing. What you doing here?
Came back for more.
Again, I was like, girl,
at least keep your word.
Yes.
Stick to what you said. But I mean, I strongly and highly recommend that book.
Wow.
Lord knows I didn't want to read it in the beginning. I was like, Lord, I don't want to read any more, sadness or whatever. And I was just like, I started reading and I couldn't put it down. I read that freaking book in 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it's like 350 pages, but like of solid text. Yeah. Like there's no dialogue in this book. Like the dialogue is like, when there's a dialogue, it's like 2 sentences. One person says something, the other person says something else, and then it goes to solid text again. So it's solid text of 250 pages.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's like ripping off the edge of the cliff. You're like this, and you're like clawing yourself up there. You're like, oh no! You're just like, oh no! You're hating some people in the book. You're like hating the grandmama, you're hating the mama, then you hate the dad, you hate this one, and then you just clawed up on that cliff, like,
wow.
You just feel like you're gonna fall off at any moment because it's just one thing after the next. You're thinking, damn, this is the kind of life she's had, and she ain't even old. It's like not even 30 when all this stuff has happened to her, So she's lived quite a full life, and she's done lots of things, and she's persevered beyond anything I can imagine.
Yeah.
She arrived, in Holland as an immigrant and having to learn English, and she did that. Yeah. She did that. That's all I gotta say. It's amazing. I mean, if you don't read that book, that one you definitely put on your anything. It's really, really good. Really.
When I first joined my book club, that was one of the first books that we read after I had joined. They had already been together long before I got there, but this was one of the first books that I read with them. And when I read that book, I said, this is the book club for me. If they're going to read books like this is the place for me. It was fantastic. I loved the book.
Yeah, I thought it was an eye opener, especially for me because I lived in Cairo for 3.5 years. So some of the things.
Oh, cool.
That sounds amazing.
Practice of Islam is something that I learned more about having to live in Egypt and not knowing a damn thing about Islam or anything like that. And like some of the things that she was saying, this idea of the perception of men of what they think of women, this idea of being pure and all of that. That was a similarity with that in Egypt as well. This idea that you know, women have to be pure, and you know, there's all this ceremony around this idea of women being pure. And what I thought was interesting was when she goes to Kenya, the Kenyan girl says, pure from what? When she says pure from what, y'all go, well, just pure. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing it out of generations and habit, and you know, they don't really know what they're doing. Because when she said pure from what, she just didn't know. I don't know, you know.
Wow.
So it's an interesting book, and the thing about it, that's the best thing about it, is the way she tells her story. She's so honest about the way she felt during different situations, and the way she writes. It's not like a typical autobiography. I'm not used to autobiographies being written with that particular tone to it. The way she talks about, you know, how she felt during different situations or how she was treated. You can see that she really goes through the full understanding of what happened to her, and it's explaining it with that full understanding. And it's remarkable. It's really remarkable. It's a remarkable read. Definitely a standout for me from these months.
I do have to take off.
Okay.
But Tomi and I negotiated that I would have 2 hours so that she could, because our internet is weak, so while I'm on here, nothing else can happen.
Oh,
goodness.
Like, maybe get off the internet now, because I need to hear.
I'm getting all sorts of loving sign language. I'm like, all right, well, cool.
Get off the internet.
So I will be active in the chat, but I'm gonna get off the video.
Okay.
I have to keep my word. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate, and it's great to meet everybody. And I'll be on the chat.
Okay, we'll see you in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the only one for me.
Okay.
That's the best one, I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's definitely going to the top of my TV.
Yeah, it's something else. It's really something else. A harrowing read. I can't even imagine living life like that. With so many things happening to you.
Yeah.
Like from left to right, all kinds of people interfering in your life, and you know, and you're in a position where you are considered to be the person that is not supposed to move, that's not supposed to feel, is not supposed to scream, is not supposed to tell.
Wow.
It's a lot to imagine you can go through all of that and still be strong, you know, still be a strong woman and still survive and survive well, you know.
Yeah.
It's commendable. You know,
now I want to read it again.
Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know if I would reread it so soon though, because damn, it's psychologically
you need a moment. Yeah.
Draining.
I haven't read it. Yeah, it was years ago. So yeah, it's making me want to read it again.
What?
Yeah.
Infidel.
Oh, read it again.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the audiobook.
Oh, your audiobook is you can actually listen to it on audiobook on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, I found it on YouTube.
What?
And it's Ayan Yosiali that reads it.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember the channel, but I think what you have to put in is if you put in Infidel, INFIDEL, and then you put in her name, Ayan Irsi Ali.
Yeah.
AYAAN, your CHIRSI
Yeah.
If you put that in, it'll come up.
I found it.
Yeah, it's in 2 videos. So you have part 1 is books 1 to 7, and then the other one's 8
I'm
to.
so excited.
Yeah, and so you can listen to it for free, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Because somebody in my book club was having difficulty reading it because she had too many other things to do and she didn't have time to sit down and read the book. I said, girl, boot that YouTube up, and
Yes. This is what I'm gonna listen to tomorrow when I wash my hair.
Oh, well, that's definitely good for washing the hair. If you're going to be there for 2 hours,
Yeah.
You might stop twisting your hair because what? So drained. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can't do my hair. I'm so preoccupied, from listening to this book. But yeah,
wow.
Definitely that one. Very, very good. Somebody said Jam on the Vine, and I have to agree. Jam on the Vine is a really, really good book.
Wow.
Which did
so many recommendations. This is great.
It did not get the press it should have gotten. That is an underrated book.
Do you think it was just marketing or just?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know how they do with us. I mean,
oh yeah.
They market with everybody else. So, her name is LaShonda Catrice Barnett. She's a wonderful writer.
Okay.
She writes another book sometime soon. But it has a love relationship between 2 women, and it's also about the rise of the Black newspaper in the US.
Oh yeah, you all talked about this on the first episode, I think.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned it and said they really liked it. I said, yeah, it's a really good book. And
nice.
she's one of those authors that nobody really talks about, and it's a shame. The book is really, really good.
Somebody mentioned Trevor Noah's book.
Oh yeah, that one is awesome.
Yeah.
Except for that one, don't even bother with the book. Hit the audio.
Audio. Everyone says that.
Hit the audio because he does all of the voices. He does the language and everything. He sounds like his grandmama, and another time it sounds like his mama. And
he's so talented.
It's really, really, it's a great, great book to listen to.
Yeah, I read it. I wish I would have listened to it. I might go back and do that someday.
Yeah, listen to that.
Absolutely.
He'll have you laughing. You'll have you crying. He'll have you shocked. It's so good. So good. Wait, somebody put. Oh, Renitra said Devil in a Blue Dress. So you really liked it. So that's good.
I think the polished hoe comes up in every
That's because it's Tatiana. That's why. Tatiana's like, oh, that whole thing. I'm like, girl, stop it. Leave my polished hoe alone.
You know what? I started the polished hoe, and
oh my God,
I couldn't do it, Dee Dee.
Tough read. It's a tough read.
I can't even say that title with a straight face.
I bitten off a little bit too much. A little bit too literary fiction.
Lord.
It's but it's I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I love the concept of the book. It's almost like a theater play.
Yeah.
There's only one person talking through the entire book, and it's just it's great because you learn a lot about the island life, and the fact. Oh well, I won't get into if you ever read it because you learn things as she's recounting. Yeah, and it's very good, very well done.
Are there any books at the very top of your TBRs for like the next few months or?
Top of my TBRs, I can tell you right now, and I have them here. It's Bushi Amashita.
Okay. Second class
So this
citizen.
class citizen, and this one is The Joys of Motherhood.
Okay.
I think she's Nigerian.
Yeah.
And I heard about her on Young Gifted and Black's channel, Marina.
Yes. I love her.
Talking about, but I already had on my list was no, I can't think of the name of the other title that I had on my list. I had another book on the list to read from her. And the thing is, I don't. Oh, it's The Bride Price. That's the one that I had on my list.
That's the one I've heard of.
And I think I have it on my Kindle.
Okay.
But I'm going to be reading the maximum of her this year because I have a feeling I'm going to really like her, and she was already on my list originally. And then when I saw the video reviews from Marina from Young Gifted and Black, if you don't know her channel, Young Gifted and Black, you need to check it out. She's really good. She does videos in French and in English.
Yes.
But she's talking about her, and that's what made me to go order these two. So okay. I will be reading that really soon because I'm very curious.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the ones,
I'm one of the hosts for March Mystery Madness. So in watching the chat, was it last week, I think, when Freeform Lady said she might do a read along with Bluebird, I made sure to check that out. So that's at the top of my TBR for next month.
Y'all better get on it because book number 2 of this is coming out this year.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is a series getting ready to happen now. It's called, what do they call it? They call it the Highway 49 series. Book number 2 out, I think it's in autumn.
Okay.
And it's mystery?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this one has a black Texas Ranger. All right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. A black Texas Ranger.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a conflict of interest.
Well, you know, he's the only one, you know, so that's what makes it interesting. But also, he's kind of how do you say? He doesn't always make great choices.
Okay.
That's what makes it interesting. It's because he doesn't always make great choices. But the story is very interesting. How she puts this one together.
Yeah.
It's a real, you know, small community kind of mystery.
Okay.
That happens along this Highway 59.
Okay.
You know, the way the cover is, but it's really good, and it ends like you're just like this.
Wow.
Where's part 2? Oh shoot! I gotta wait for part 2. It's coming out this year, so we can all rest.
Okay,
you know,
good.
Get the part 2. So it's kind of good if you read it now because you'll be geared up for part 2. I might have to reskim sections of the book because I want to be prepared for part 2.
Ready.
Because it is going to be a series.
Okay.
So you might want to check her out.
Yeah, I plan to start that one as soon as I finish Unforgivable Love. I want to get started on Bluebird, and then the other books I don't even know the name of. Huh?
You're gonna read it fast because it's engrossing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. You start to read it and you're just like, oh, you want to know what's going to happen next, and you'll be sitting there trying to figure everything out and piece stuff together. Wow. And it's a good. Yeah, I do too.
Mystery, suspense—that's my favorite genre. So I'm looking forward to reading that book. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna
start. And there's a lot of thrillers over there. I don't even, you know, I've got like how many books checked? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books checked out from the library, and I think maybe 4 audiobooks, and they're all mystery.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna focus on continuing the Easy Rawlins next month. Yeah. because I'm on book 5 and I need to get moving. So I might just 5, 6, 7, and read the maximum to get onto the get onto that series, because it's a long one. That one's like 15 books or something.
Oh wow.
14, I can't remember. 13 something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's kind of long. So at least I'm gonna read the ones I've got, because I don't have them all.
I'm really trying to read before the month is over. I'm really prioritizing short story collection, When a Man Falls from the Sky.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I heard good things about that one too.
That's like my #1 priority to get through, to make sure that definitely read that this month.
Another one
TBR.
is second and third and fourth book of Blanche on the Lamb.
Okay.
Series. I really like that one. I've only read the first one. I need to read the second one and third one, the fourth one.
Someone in the chat, 10-minute book reviews, asked the question, does anyone ever feel not Black enough on Booktube? That's a good question.
Does anybody not feel what?
Does anyone ever feel not Black enough on Booktube?
I don't know.
That kind of goes back to what we were talking about way at the beginning, I think, about diversity and everything. Can you elaborate on that question?
Yeah, I feel Black enough. Yeah, I mean, maybe other people don't like that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never felt that it wasn't Black enough. That's never
either. And I review a lot of books by people who aren't Black. I read a lot of books by people who aren't Black.
Me too.
So I've never
That's
felt
called reading diversely.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're asking 10-minute book reviews. Yeah, what is Black enough? Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting question. I don't think I've ever felt that pressure. In fact, I feel like I feel that pressure outside of Booktube, or that stigma, but I don't feel that in this space. I feel like this is a safe space and we're just ourselves, and there is the Black experience is not a monolith. We're all from different places, different backgrounds. We all read different things.
Exactly. This is to what you had said before about people saying that Black people don't read.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. We do.
If anything, I find camaraderie in this space, and I find, a sense of belonging. And
yeah, I'm not sure if she can explain what she means. Is it about reading a lot of non-Black books and not meeting the Black expectations of others?
But what are their expectations? I feel as though mainstream watcher, I feel as though the majority watchers of Booktube don't watch Black booktubers.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if we have our own secret society, because every day I get a comment of someone saying, "Oh my God, I've never seen your video. I didn't even know you existed." And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm like, what expectations are these? Because they don't even know that I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here, they're explaining. So it says, I live in the hood and I'm not college educated in African American studies. I don't sound like most of you, although I read the same things. I think my lack of African American studies sometimes, I think they're going to continue.
Yeah, but I didn't study African American studies.
Doesn't matter.
I'm an English lit major. I'm not an African American studies major.
They continued. I think my lack of African American studies sometimes works against me, and other Black people see me as kind of a hood niche.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I mean, I think that sometimes these insecurities live in our minds.
Maybe, yeah.
because just speaking for, I can only speak for myself, and I'm sure you guys feel the same. Like I don't ever watch another Black booktuber and think any specific thing.
No.
You know?
Right.
No,
if anything, yeah. If anything, like, you know, I go to certain people's channels for certain types of books because I know, okay, this person reads a lot of fantasy, this person reads a lot of this. I'm gonna go for, you know, recommendation or book review. You know, I'm gonna look up this person because I know they read a lot of this. They need, if anything, that's the only title I would put on one of our own. But I don't really go to anyone's channel, watch a video, and think anything negative or positive.
No.
Yeah. The last thing I'm thinking about is I'm not thinking about how educated someone is when they are reviewing a book. I mean, okay, so I went to college and I took some African American studies classes, but I love reading Damia S. Poole and Donald Goins, who write urban fiction.
Exactly.
You know? And so if someone comes on and they do a review of those books, I'm going to watch the review, and it's not going to matter to me how Black or not Black I think they are, or how they speak. You know, that I'm watching to find out about the book. Did you like the book or not? What was good about it? What was bad about it? That's what I'm
exactly. I think, and I think in general, that's what most people do when they look at videos. I don't think people are judging, and I agree with Venetia when she says there's a place for everyone on here. Everyone's perspective needs its place, its space. And,
especially if you watch Black booktubers who English is not their first language.
Yeah.
So that in itself, it's like, you know, not everyone is speaking in a certain vernacular or with a certain type of inflection or grammar, whatever the case may be, because I've come across Black booktubers where English is not the first language. And so it's kind of like, you know.
Yeah, and I commend anybody who's on here doing a video in a second language. I say go for it. Do that, honey, because it's not easy.
No, not at all. But that's definitely a very stimulating question.
Yeah, it is, because I've never felt that, and I never really I definitely haven't looked at anyone by saying, you know, oh, she's hood or whatever. I mean, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I find that to be odd.
It's very odd. I think I would. Now, people can start watching your channel and not like the types of books that you read.
Yes.
They don't read those types of books. That's fine. But I don't think people are judging people by saying, oh, well, she doesn't sound like she has, you know, an African-American studies diploma or whatever. I don't think people are like that. I think they're more concerned with following people that read similar books to what they read.
Yes.
But, you know, I'm known to follow anybody pretty much. If they can, like, get me enthralled in what they're talking about. I mean, because Tatiana, I started watching her right from the beginning, and I quickly realized we don't always read similar books, but because I like her and I like her personality, I just kept watching.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm not just fantasy girl, I'm with you, but I'm not reading that mess. I'm behind you all the way, Tatiana. Go with the fantasy girl. You know, start asking me to read that, okay? But, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, you following someone because everything is the same as your channel. No, I think to the contrary, it's the opposite. I think a lot of people follow a lot of different people, but they follow them because they like the way they talk about books.
Yes.
They find them interesting, so we follow them. Don't matter what you're talking about. I mean, you could be talking about some books that you would never even read, you know. But
exactly. I watch a lot of people who read books that I will probably never read, but I really enjoy their content. I enjoy the way they talk about those books. It at least the excitement and the passion draws me in. I love the personality. So like, I'm here.
Yes.
Venitra says, in fact, I need to increase my hood knowledge. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I watch a lot of different types of videos and channels and learn about all types of different books and you know, so 10-minute book reviews. Thank you so much for that question. We appreciate that question.
Yeah.
That was a good question.
That was really good.
Because I know, and it kind of goes along to what I was asking before. Are you a niche channel or not? Because, you know, there are some people who would only want to see urban fiction books. In fact, there were channels that catered to urban fiction long time ago, and I watched some of the old videos that they used to have, and some of those people may not be recording anymore. I also like to watch romance channels. I don't even read romance really like that, but some of the booktubers are just so engaging. I like watching them.
I like watching Bree talk about romance.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
She lights up like a light bulb when
she loves it.
She talks about romance. It's amazing to watch.
Let's see.
And they're talking about Troi. Some people are saying they don't read mysteries, but they love Troi. I love
Troi.
Yes.
Troi is bomb.com. Okay. Thebomb.com.
Yes.
He did the best hashtag read so lit video.
Really? I gotta go watch that.
Black, you know, women who write mysteries and detectives. Lord, that video was those two everything. Okay.
I gotta go check that out. Wow.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
He was rattling off people I had never heard of before.
Yeah.
I was like, well, damn, let me get
always the best because you get all the recommendations.
Oh man, that video. Somebody asked me on, I think it was last week's chat, to put the links because they wanted to watch the two videos. So I gladly put them up there because those two videos are everything. If you're like into mysteries, you want to get more into mysteries, and you want to get more into Black women detective mystery writers, those two videos are the ones to go to. I will link them in the description box.
Okay.
So that people can, can go and click on them. I have also put links to the videos of all the ladies that I chatted with tonight. So their channels are linked below, so you can go and subscribe and check them out as well, because you guys need to do that. You need to do that. Wait, let's see. There's a young booktuber. Where did I see that? I'm sure you're insane reader. I really don't read much of what he reads, but he has me rolling.
He's funny.
I don't know this one, Insane Reader. You guys know Insane Reader?
Yeah, he's a younger booktuber. He reads primarily young adult fiction. He's had some really funny videos, more like rant videos. Just he's not afraid to talk about books he does not like.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you should be afraid to talk about books.
He's very entertaining about it, so that's always fun.
I'll have to check him out, Insane Reader. I don't know him. Yeah, Troi is everybody's boo. Boo. Come on now. Troi will be with me next week. Troi will be with me next week.
Nice.
A whole bunch of other. You guys will get to see Troi. If you don't know Troi Towel, you need to get on it.
Yeah.
On it. Okay.
Sherry Maple, yes, I read mystery novels. I love reading mysteries. I read mysteries probably more than anything else.
Really?
I don't always review them on my channel though, because I don't know, I just don't. But yeah, I read a lot of mysteries, a lot of different a lot of different types of mysteries too. I like the gritty, dirty, Donald going street, black exploitation kind of stories. But then I
Oh,
also
we
read
should review some of these so that we can get the
Done.
name. Hey, come on now. You need to
huh?
review some of these so we can get the
I,
name.
Yeah,
I
you
know, and then
should.
I'll do, then I'll turn around and read a David Baldacci or Harlan Coben, and they're
Mm,
so different. I mean, they're very different types of writers, but yeah,
absolutely.
I love mysteries. And ONYX Pages, and Jerry's asked me, what do I love about mysteries? I like to try to figure things out,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
I want to. For me, it's like a game. I need to figure out who did it before the end of the book.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Don't you just
love
love
about.
a good red herring, though?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Don't you love a good red herring? I know I love
Yes.
one.
Yes.
And Easy Rollins is full of red herrings. It's like amazing how he just throws those things in there all the time.
And I haven't read an Easy Rollins in, wow, it's been years. It's been a long time.
But have you read almost all of the series, or did you stop?
No, I can't even. You know what? Back then, when I was reading a lot of Walter Mosley, I probably wasn't even reading the books in order, and not even. I really wasn't paying attention. I
Oh,
would just say, "Oh, here's a Walter Mosley. Let me
You just
read
pick
it."
it up. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
damn! You should read them in order.
Okay.
Because
I'll
when
have
you read
to.
them in order, that's when you really
Mhm.
see the genius of it. Because each book, like you jump 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's changing, you know. Not only
Yeah.
is Rollins changing and his situation is changing, but the time period is changing. And phenomenal that when you can see that change. And then you have some of the secondary characters remain in place and just kind of like move around, like you see them maybe a little bit in one and maybe not so much in the next one or whatever. But the fact that you have that jump in time as you go on is brilliant.
Okay. And
That
see,
is brilliant.
I've read some of his. I don't know if these books are in his series or not, but like I'm trying to think. Before John Woman, I'm trying to think of the last
Oh, John Warren.
Walter Mosley I read. I remember reading books like Cinnamon Kiss and Blonde Faith years ago. Um, Always Outnumbered, Always Outgunned. I don't even know which books are part of the series and which aren't. So I need to go back and do some checking on that.
Yes, Devil in the Blue Dress, A Red
Yeah.
Death, Black Betty. Black Betty was pretty good. A White Butterfly, a little yellow dog. I can't remember some of the other ones, but I'm at A Little Yellow Dog. That's where I need to
Okay.
pick up at, which is book 5, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and do it in order then.
Yeah, because I think if you do it in order, you're going to see stuff that you didn't see before.
Okay.
Because I mean, there's so many characters that are doing things that you kind of need to know or remember for what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just pick them up, because it's true, you could read them try to read them as standalones, but you're still going to be missing a layer, I think, of the story.
Anisha has a question.
Who has a question?
She says, anyone know of any Black horror Stephen King-like writers?
Oh.
Now, didn't somebody tell? Isn't that book the one that Michael Reeds had reviewed? It's a short story collection. Friday something or other.
Friday Black?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Didn't he have that on his Instagram reviews?
Yeah, I think he said it kind of has aspects of horror and mystery in it.
I read Brendan Massey. I don't know if he's horror. I mean, one of his books with Within the Shadows was about vampires, and then he had one called Frenzied. It was kind of like zombie. It really wasn't hard to me. I read it and I wasn't scared or anything. But he has another book called Nana, and I have it on my Kindle, but I haven't started it yet. But I don't know if he's going to be. I don't know if that's going to be Stephen King-esque. I don't know.
Well, I don't really know because I'm not really. I'm not really expert in horror. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, horror is not really my genre of choice, but I'm always intrigued to try more.
Well, Tatiana says Tananarive do, Brendan and Stephen Barnes. Somebody put horror freaks me out. I'm a straight up punk.
I can handle reading it more than I can handle watching it.
Probably I could too, because I can't handle watching it.
No.
I like reading it. Well, I like zombies, so I'm
really?
a Walking Dead fan, but I also like reading books about zombies too. So
it's funny, the Walking Dead, I completely love the comic.
I've
heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I like the comic.
Yeah, a lot of people say the comic is a lot better than the show.
I think it's very intricate. It's you get plunged in really quickly. Like I read through the first compendium. Now I got to get to the second compendium. Like, I mean, pages turn in, and you're in it like for a while. I mean, you just get totally, and it's done really well.
Tati's like, no zombies. I love zombies. I have a book on my shelf right there called Patient Zero. It's a zombie book I can't wait to get to. Yeah, I watch zombie movies, read the zombie books. See, my tastes are all over the place.
I like vampires more than I like zombies.
Yeah, vampires are pretty cool too.
Anything vampire, I'm there.
I was there for the originals. That was kind of sad when they had to end that one, but anyway.
I know.
Kind of liked it. I don't mind zombies. I mean, why not? I could be, I might try to read Colson Whitehead's zombie book.
What are some good ones, Kay?
Huh?
What are some good zombie books?
Oh my goodness, I can't remember the name. Well, one I liked was called Rise Again by Ben Tripp, and I read that one several years ago. I actually listened to it on audio, and I really liked that one because it told us, or it reminded me of The Walking Dead in the sense that it told a story. It wasn't just all gore,
Yeah.
Get to know the characters a little bit, and you really care about the survival. And so I really liked that one. But then he came out with the sequel and kind of like messed it up for me. So I would recommend the first book, Rise Again, but the second one wasn't as good.
Okay.
Isn't there another one with vampires though that everybody's read before that's kind of an older book? I can't think of the name right now. Somebody told me, oh yeah, you should read that. It's really good. It's about, and then they told me later it was about vampires. I was like, I don't know, it's vampires? I can't think of the name of the book though.
Is it a male or female author?
I think it's a female author.
Are you talking about the Twilight series?
No.
Are you talking about Anne Rice?
It's a standalone book. No, it's not Anne Rice.
Oh, okay.
Standalone. Huh. The Sookie Stackhouse.
Oh yeah, that whole series.
I was so sick of Sookie getting beat up.
I like the TV series. I'm not so sure about the books.
I said, Sookie, you need to get yourself a weapon or something, girl, because the vampire is gonna have you jacked up in a minute. Because They was constantly hitting on poor Suki.
She was kind of Mary Sue-ish.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but in the book, it's a little annoying because after a while, you're like, girl, get you a stick or something. It's old. You're like going on closets and stuff and hitting her and treating her bad.
Oh my God.
Suki, honey.
I think I bought one. I think I bought a couple of those books. I haven't read them yet, though. Dread Nation.
I liked Dread Nation a lot.
I liked it, but I wanted more zombies and more zombie.
Me too. I was like, what?
That one is good.
It's good.
Well,
that was one of the better young adult books I read last year. Let's see. Sidney Sheldon.
Sidney Sheldon was a mystery writer. He was the same person. He created I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
And back in the day, his books used to be those. You remember the miniseries that used to come on TV, the movie of the week or whatever?
Yeah.
They used to record movies off of his books, like A Rage of Angels and whatnot.
Okay.
And I even was going to include one of his books for March Mystery Madness, but I'm not going to be able to get to it. I'll try to read it later in the year, but he was like one of my absolute favorite writers from back in the day. And they're writing now under his name, but I refuse to read those books because
that's not the same thing.
I don't want to read something with his name on it, knowing it's not coming from him. He's so good. Really.
I did read something Sidney Sheldon, but a long time ago, but I don't remember what it is that I read. It was too long ago. But yeah, he was a pretty prolific writer.
Mm-hmm.
Sidney Sheldon.
Thank you for clarifying that, Tati. Yeah, movie of the week. It used to be that these different movie stations would have a movie of the week or mini series of the week, and they would put them on basic TV. It would be like on ABC or CBS or something. Someone would ask a question. Yeah. And yes, I think he did create the Patty Duke show, and yeah, it's kind of like what they're doing with VC Andrews. Same thing.
Okay.
Oh God, VC Andrews. I remember everybody sneaking and reading that all over the place. It was crazy.
I could go to the library without seeing about 40 of their books. Or
like this book. Everybody was like just with that little book in the corner and everything. It's like, oh my God, did you read that? Oh my God, look on page.
Yeah. Yeah, I avoided those books on principle.
Oh, The Feast of All Saints. Yeah, I haven't read that one by Anne Rice. And The World of Old New Orleans, yeah. Tatiana said DNF.
What?
Like All Saints. DNF.
That's funny.
I can't think of the name of that vampire one that people were talking about all the time.
I feel like it's gonna haunt you now.
Yeah, it's haunting me because it was going around Booktube. People were reading it a lot when I had started Booktube, and they were talking about reading it. And I think it's a woman that wrote it, but I cannot remember the name of it. It's I want to say it's one word or something.
Huh.
It'll come to me. Yeah, I don't know. Anne Rice has never really been my thing. But,
yeah, I'm not. I tried really hard. I think with Interview. What was it? Interview
with Vampire?
Yeah. I mean, it was okay.
Book. I watched the movie though.
Yeah, I liked the movie better.
Yeah, the movie was good.
Yeah.
The book was tough to get into.
It was okay.
One, it was called, I think, The Violin, something like
Okay.
that. That was a weird book. It's just weird. It's really weird.
I feel like she's an acquired taste.
She is an acquired taste. But I hear good things about the one that we're talking about before, the Feast of All Saints. But have I actually tried to read that book? No. I don't know. But since Tatiana said she DNF'd it, I'm gonna go with her.
I know. I was about to say that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight it.
No.
Okay. No point. Somebody mentioned Maya Banks.
Yes, she writes like erotica.
Oh,
but
okay.
Vampires.
Or erotica with vampires. Oh dear.
Yes. I mean, she writes other things too, but she's mostly like erotica, romance type stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think she was a better writer years ago.
So this is another one who should quit writing now.
Yeah.
Because all that mystery isn't doing you any justice. Oh dear. That's a shame.
Oh, they said wrong.
Oh, LA Banks. Okay. Okay. So I was like, interesting choice. I feel like I've heard of LA Banks.
I had,
when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That name sounds real familiar.
I think I have one of her books on my TBR.
Yeah.
I think so.
She said as soon as you said it, I knew I was wrong. It's like, yeah, interesting suggestion. Goodness.
I'm trying to see if I can find the name of that stupid book because it's driving me mad.
I knew it was gonna haunt you.
Oh Lord, I don't know why I can't remember the name of this stupid book. I don't know what it's called. And it's not Dracula, of course. Oh man. I just don't remember the name of the title.
Yeah, I don't know anything about vampire novels, so
I think this one you'll know the title. You'll know and you'll be like, oh yeah, and you'll be like, no, I haven't read it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I haven't read that one. No. I think it's about vampires. Maybe I messed up. I'm thinking the wrong thing. Yeah.
There need to be more vampire books, though.
You don't think there's enough?
More good ones.
Oh, okay. That's different. I was about to say, girl, Google vampire books and see what you're talking about. Okay, girl, forget about it. Oh no. Let's see if it's under this one. Because it's got like a weird name, like sounds Russian or something.
Russian?
Yeah, it sounds like a Russian. Oh, I got it. The Historian.
The Historian.
Elizabeth Kostova.
Huh.
Have you read that one?
No.
That's about vampires, and it's supposed to be good.
I'm looking it up.
Really good. Everybody says, oh my God, you got to read that. It's really good.
Oh, it's kind of cheap on Kindle.
Let's see. The plot blends the history and folklore of Vlad Tepes and his fictional equivalent, Count Dracula.
Okay, that's why you said Russian.
Yeah, Kostova's father told her stories about Dracula when she was a child, and later in life, she was inspired to turn the experience into a novel. She worked on the book for 10 years,
Wow.
and then in sold within a few months to Little Brown and Company, which bought it for, hold it, $2 million.
What?
What?
Yeah.
How?
His story has been described as a combination of genres, including gothic novel, adventure novel, detective novel, travelogue, postmodern historical novel, epistolary epic, and historical thriller. Come on now. We all might need to get on to the...
Yeah, I think we might all need to read this. Just so we can all have an opinion, because now I'm intrigued.
Sounds pretty amazing, right?
Right.
In 2005, it was published.
I'm still stuck on $2 million.
Yeah, well, when you hear what it's described as, it's amazing. The combination of genre that this book is described as is amazing.
There is an audiobook.
Detective on, you got your postmodern, you got your travelogue, you got your epistolary.
Good Lord.
Give it a go.
Basically, it fits into every category possible.
Yeah, it fits into all the categories. Okay, so I stopped reading because, of course, the rest is the plot, and I don't want to know the plot. But yeah, that's the one. Let's see, it's rated on here. Waterstones 4.6 out of 5. Goodreads 3.8 out of 5. But you know that doesn't mean anything because
that doesn't mean anything. I do not trust Goodreads reviewers anymore.
Goodreads when people give their review, you know, they give their reviews and stuff. It just sounds crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it has good ratings, and I've always heard people on BookTube rave about the historian.
Yeah.
Always. People always say how much they love it, you know, or oh my God, you haven't read it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
One of those. Haven't gotten into it yet. Sorry.
Yeah, well, they say it's something to be, you know, to read. It's very good. It's a standalone and it's kind of chunky.
Yeah.
I think it's like 500 pages or something.
That's another one. I might get the audiobook.
Kay's like, oh.
I would have to, because number one, I read slow, and number two, y'all know I don't read long books. So
Let me just
on Kindle it's 704 pages.
I saw that because it was cheap on Kindle, and then I saw the page count, and I was like, no.
I think I have a cheap paperback that somebody gave me.
Oh, lucky.
Let's see. Does it tell me? But I don't know. It's like a it's one of those mass markets. So it's this big chunky thing like this, tiny ass.
Yeah.
I might have to get the audio or get what do you call it? The ebook. It's 676 in paperback.
Good Lord.
Yeah, you have to really want to read that one. Well, I don't know. What I'll do is if I can dig out that old paperback, then I'll just, you know, like maybe put that like spring read or something and just try to read the beginning. And if I can get into it, I'll continue. If I can't, oh well, I'll dump it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else? That's the best I can do. But that is one that I remember back in the day, a lot of people said was really good.
Now I'm intrigued.
Wait, I tried the first Sleeping Beauty trilogy. Much baby stuff. Oh, you're talking about Anne Rice when she was writing as.
She wrote under a pen name. Somebody wrote in the chat.
I think it was Jane Rampling or something like that. I think it was Rampling was the last name, but I read one of those. It is very rapey.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, it is disturbing.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah, it's a hard pass. I think it's a hard pass for most women.
Sorry, you have me cracking up.
I think it's a hard pass for most women. But the fact that it's written by a woman, you just kind of shake your head and go, girl, what is going on with you?
Yeah.
when it's not right in your life.
Exactly.
You can only write about rapey sex. It's like weird.
Oof. That's crazy.
Not only is the sex rapey, but the story itself is just kind of weird. Yeah, I just like, nah.
That's one of those, what am I getting out of this? Nothing.
Yeah.
Putting it aside.
Tatiana, if it starts as rape and continues, still rape.
Oh, goodness.
Somebody read the entire trilogy. Life is too short. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I might have to adopt that philosophy of just DNFing books and not forcing my way to
well, I mean, look at it this way. If you actually did DNF it, you could actually get to something that is better.
Yeah.
You know, there you've got all these books, and there you are dragging yourself literally to a book that you clearly don't love, you don't even like, you know.
Right.
I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I have way too many books on my TBR.
Somebody said, you know what, I've never tried one of those Amish mysteries. I don't know what that is.
I feel like I vaguely kind of know.
My coworker reads some of those. They're just mysteries that take place in Amish country.
Okay.
Are they good?
She said that they were, but I don't know.
But Kay, you've never been intrigued enough to try.
No, I have not.
Like you talk about your face, like, nah, girl, I'm not reading that.
No, I was curious enough to try.
You know, so there. That scratch that one off too. Like, I'm just going with the people who know their stuff, you know. So
I feel like if I come across one and it has an interesting plot and it's in the library, maybe I'll pick it up. But I wouldn't go out of my way to
pick up an Amish mystery.
No.
I don't think I would either. Pretty particular.
Yeah. That's a very niche.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, it can go either way. It can either be really, really good, or it can be really, really weird.
Right.
Or really, really repetitive.
Exactly.
Because the community is so specific, it could wind up being very repetitive and predictable.
And you would have to kind of familiarize yourself with the Amish community and, you know, what goes on and all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it could be something that is either successful or something that quickly runs dry because the author doesn't know how to keep it lively and not have it wind up being predictable. Because it's such a closed-in community. I could actually see something really good happening there, but for how long, I'm not really sure.
Move your camera up a little bit.
I know. I just put in my my plug.
Oh, okay.
So I had to put my thing down. But yeah, so I mean, it could go either way, but just from the sound of it, I'm not that intrigued about reading something like that. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But
you know what could be interesting? So if they don't use electricity and a lot of modern technology,
yeah,
then whoever's solving the crime, you know, or committing the crime, or what there's no text messaging that they could follow. You know, they're not tracing phone calls.
No.
That kind of stuff might make it interesting, but you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Time to read. Oh, sorry. Time to read just asked how frequently we do this.
Yeah, I just wrote there'll be another one next Saturday.
Okay.
But and then the following, so there'll be one next Saturday, and then the following Saturday is like, I think it's March 2nd.
Yes.
And we'll be doing the live discussion of Unforgivable Love.
Okay.
Sophronia Scott.
So exciting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, you know, I'm sorry, Books with B, you know, where you say there's about to be a TV series about an Amish gangster family, looks so good, based on a true story. I remember I used to work.
How did it work? An Amish gangster family.
Yeah.
I used to watch a show called Banshee, and I think they were they Amish? They did have an Amish family on Banshee. And I used to watch that TV series. And they were gangsters.
Really?
But like, how that work? An Amish gangster family.
How?
These people religious or what?
Yeah.
Hey.
Are they just gangsters within the Amish community?
I have a hard time seeing a gangster running down the road with the horse and buggy.
Yes.
Down on you with the horse and buggy.
Let me make sure I'm right about that. For some reason, I.
Of course, they'd have a shotgun to pick your ass off, though.
Exactly.
They'd have that in the bag for sure.
Let me see, let me make sure they were Amish before I say that. Yeah, set in a small town of Banshee in Pennsylvania, Amish country. The series main character, da 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 da. So yeah, there were Amish gangsters in this.
Michael said that it's true. The Amish has a gang.
Yes, indeed. So these people are not going to church.
No.
Okay.
It's like there's corruption even within the Amish.
They're supposed to be religious and not Amish gangsters. Come on now.
Smuggling drugs, really? Okay. So, that would make sense because who would think to check them?
Nobody would, because they're thinking those Amish people ain't got nothing going on.
So my question is, were they gangsters that became Amish so that they could hide their gangster life, or were they? What came first?
Tiana, are they making the drugs with that equipment? Are they getting it from outside the community? That's all into it. Oh, I have so many questions with this.
I can't with this. I'm just like, how did we get here?
Renitra.
Yeah, talking about, hey, I got another mystery for you.
Now I'm very intrigued about this TV show, though.
You got good stuff to talk about. You need to get on it, girl. Do some videos.
Hey, Renitra, for March Mystery Madness, you need to read an Amish mystery and do a review on it and let us know how good.
Yes, please do it.
See how this
Take one for the team.
Yeah, we want to see how this Amish gun running family does, how they go about it. You know, clearly they're not going to church, and if they are, they're faking it the whole way.
Oh, gosh.
Faking it. They are not praying at all in that church.
That's hilarious. Now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, well, like I said, it could be actually really successful. It could be a real, dive if get it right. But it's true. It could be very interesting because they're using the electricity. So
right.
There's
no modern comforts.
Yeah, it would have to be solved like we solved crimes before where we didn't have DNA and all this other kind of stuff. So it could be interesting. But if they make it cliche or something, then it's going to be, not so good. Somebody said they would Google it, the name.
Someone said there was a show called Amish Mafia a few years ago.
What? Where was I?
Amish mafia.
I would have been right there.
Yes, indeed. They don't even use flashlights. Well, no, now they wouldn't use flashlights, would they?
No.
Candles, baby.
They have their lanterns. What is it? Their kerosene lanterns, lamps, or whatever.
They use drug pigeons.
What?
Oh, man.
It's getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah, it is getting crazy. All right, well, we're going to stop now. Let's see. Oh, like the guys selling their stuff on Coming to America. Yo, man. I got some fly electronics over here, so I'm trying. Stop it. You're making us, you're killing us over here.
Lord.
Oh, no. Anyway, so we're going to stop here for the night, or for the afternoon for you guys, or the early evening. But I'll be back next week with a whole bunch of people. So you'll be able to check the description box for this one, where you'll see all these ladies' channels, and of course Troy's 2 videos on the mystery, Black American mystery writers. I'll put that down below. And if anybody figures out the name of this Amish mess that we've been talking about, you guys put that in the comment section.
Yes.
And I'll go and put it back into the description box in case people actually follow this long and hear about this Amish family, gangster family, because it sounds like it could be good. So yeah, so thanks for joining us. It's been a blast, and you know, stay tuned for next week. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for having us. It's awesome.
Thank you so much for the invite. Glad I could participate.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.